And now it's time for Who's Views with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Hooray! Here we go then, everybody. Welcome back to Who's Views and another in our series of season overviews. And as you can tell by Paul's delighted face there, we are today going to take you back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yes, we are. We're taking you back 42 years. And I can tell you now, I know.
Never.
It doesn't feel like it, does it, guys? It doesn't at all. Yeah. And you can see I'm with Paul and I am with Graham. Great to see you both. But 42 years it is indeed. And I can actually tell you as well that we are broadcasting to you live on the 18th of March, 2026, which means that this time, 42 years ago, we had just witnessed the regeneration of the Fifth Doctor into the Sixth Doctor, because Caves of Androzani Part 4 finished on the 16th of March, 1984. So we were on the threshold of a brand new, bold era.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Remember it well.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about all of that coming up in the chat as well. Thank you so much. Because, oh, look, there's lots of people with us already. Great to see you all. 42 years, it's flew, says Pete Harrington. Hasn't it just? Hello, John Pope. John Pope is saying to us, good evening, Team Who. It's good to see you. How are you doing? Just from Legion of James here, just in an FYI, it's only 17 sleeps until the Daleks master plan. Yes. And we're all ready for it.
Now you're talking Legion of James, yeah.
Yeah. Our shows are up on the channel for you now to like, the first of our April shows. Hello, Sadeko. How are you? Good to see you. And Stephen O'Neill, thank you for your email. Stephen O'Neill is saying to us here, well, I remember it well. It seems like only yesterday, doesn't it just? Yeah. It really does. 42 years ago, I lost my doctor, says Darren Reed. Oh. We're going to be reliving his adventures, though, in this overview. And you, Robert Payne, 42 years or 10 in our memory. Yeah, that sounds a bit better, doesn't it? Good to see Pete Harrington as well. Nice to see you, mate. Julianne, woohoo, more proper Who, she says. Lots of it coming up for you. Absolutely, lots of it coming up for you in the channel. And we're off, says Matt Inspiel. We are indeed, Matt, as well. Lots of you are going to be talking about, of course, the box set that Paul has in the chat as well. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So bring it on, everybody. John, the computer doctor, is saying to us, my season 21 is still in the Amazon packaging. I am mad. Am I mad? Answers on a postcard.
Do I have to put a spoiler alert before I talk about any content or not?
You've just done it.
That's okay, good.
You've just done it. Because, yes, we will be talking about it. So if you haven't opened your box yet, or if you haven't got it yet, beware, because this one has, and he's watched several of the episodes, and I know that a lot of you guys have as well, because I have had a lot of messages. A lot of messages. So there we go. We're going to get to it all. But, yeah, as I say, we are going to take you right back now. 42 years to 1984, everybody. Yeah, because it was season 21. Which consisted of, as we all know, Warriors of the Deep, The Awakening, Frontios, Resurrection of the Daleks, The Planet of Fire, Caves of Androzani, and The Twin Dilemma. It was, as you all know, produced by John Nathan Turner, whether you like it or not. It was one of those series as well, everybody, because it started with one set of travelers. In this case, it was Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and Mark Strickson, and it ended with another set of travelers, which was Colin Baker and Nicola, Bryant, of course, one of those famous seasons. We had the writers, Johnny Byrne, Eric Pringle, Christopher H. Bidmead, Eric Saywood, Peter Grimwade, Anthony Stephen, and it was directed by Pennant Roberts, Michael Owen Morris, not the footballer apparently, Ron Jones, Matthew Robinson, Fiona Cummings, Graham Harper, and Peter Moffat. Eric Saywood was your script editor, and it ran from the 5th of January to the 30th of March, 1984, consisting of 24 episodes. Whew.
Can I say
Wow.
something? That picture you put up of Tegan, the Doctor, and Turlough, I love that poster. That was in the, if I remember rightly, the 20th anniversary Radio Time
Yeah.
special, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It's a
I-
great image. Yeah.
I had it on my wall as a young boy, a young lad.
Did you?
Yeah.
That very picture off the magazine, from the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And that proudly adorned my wall, definitely.
It's amazing what it can do with a bit of smoke, isn't it?
It is really some dry ice. I
Yeah.
hate dry ice. Years of being in clubs and working with dry ice. I hate dry ice.
Gets you a bit
You know
down
what,
there.
that picture as well, just to show it again there very quickly, gave us the first look at the altered costume that Davison was going to be wearing for his last few stories as well, didn't it?
Yeah, after he took a dip in Warriors of the Deep,
Warriors of the Deep, so you were like, hang on a minute, he's changing his jumper and his shirt here, and even the jacket, the coat was shaped slightly differently as well, wasn't it? But yeah, I love this season. I have to be honest. I mean, coming off the back of the 20th season, the whole tone for season 21, I feel, is totally different to the year we've just had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I agree. I loved it. I thought there was, I mean, even the malign stories I liked at the time. Honestly, I really did. There was it was, I mean, looking back at Warriors of the Deep, starting at the beginning, as a 14-year-old, Silurian Sea Devils and a new monster, plus an undersea base, it was brilliant. It was just couldn't wait for it. And I remember, just a quick story, jumping in straight away, I recorded it on audio cassette at the time.
Yes, me
and
too.
The tape didn't work, and I tried to make out what they were saying, and the Silurian voices was so hard. It was, I think it was a very old cassette deck thing that I used to do it on, and it just was getting really ancient and didn't really work properly. And I remember being so upset, listening, straining my ears, trying to work out what was happening. It was hard enough, obviously, without the visuals, but with just the old cassette going round and round, trying to hear what was going on. But happy days, and I, like you say, I'm very fond memories of the whole season.
Yeah,
I used to do that, Graham. I used to record them prior to getting the video recorder in '83. So I started recording from Arc of Infinity. In fact, it was K9 and Company I got prior to that, I think. So I started recording from then on, and then so this is my second season recording. It was brilliant, loved it. And that's when I started getting copies for other people about a time repeats kind of thing. The less is that, the better, really.
There's really. Yeah. This is why an entire generation can, to this day, still quote you line for line of these 80s episodes, because we were either videoing them, or I was doing what Graham was doing. I was doing the C90s.
Yeah.
You know, it was great. We've also got this from Davey B. Nice to see you, Davey B. I've always preferred Peter's season 21 slight costume change to his previous one. The new jumper works best with his look.
It's a nice little tweak, isn't it? I like it as well.
Yeah.
I think I prefer it as well. Yeah,
I think I do. Yeah.
And it's actually more of a cricket jumper, isn't it? It was more like one of those you could buy off the shelf, really, with the heavy stripes and stuff, rather than that one that was actually made for him.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I because of it, I bought a cricket jersey and used to wear it all the time, and I've still got it in the loft, so I need to bring it down. I should have brought it down if I got. Yeah.
Did you buy any celery?
No, I didn't. No. It's interesting. My wife hates celery, which is quite ironic, really, to be fair.
Bit like Peter. Julianne saying to us, I've been working, so tomorrow will be the first chance I'll have to binge watch the box set. Fantastic. Hi, Hartnell's Ghost. How are you? Nice to see you. And 42 years ago, says Matt Enspiel, I was still slack-jawed at the end of Androzani. We had just come off one of the best Doctor Who adventures of all time. And I think at that point, we didn't quite know it. I think it was still settling in because it was such a shock, wasn't it, Caves?
Yeah. The build up to the regeneration and saving Peri is wonderful, really is. I know I'm jumping ahead, but that's it's shot beautifully. And Graham Harper, what a director. I'm glad he came back for Revelation, which he'd done more in Classic Who, but superb direction, absolutely superb.
Can you imagine if we'd had, no disrespect to anybody else, but can you imagine if we'd had more people with Graham's energy and insights into gosh, you know.
Matthew Robinson comes close on Resurrection, though, definitely.
Resurrection, of course, 21st season feels kind of fast and furious, as Pete Harrington. It does actually, Pete. I think that's right, don't you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Darren Reed is saying to us, season 21 is the most adult series of the 80s. 22 follows its template fairly successfully, but I think it's JNT's most accomplished season.
Yeah, wouldn't argue with that.
You can definitely see that Eric Saywood's huge influence on the violence in it from here on, can't you? Could he really got to grips with the stories by this point? Could he came in, was it back end of 19, wasn't it, after Anthony Reid left? So he kind of became more control of the stories, but you can really see his influence here and into 22, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Harnell's Ghost is saying to us, guys, I feel really old seeing you youngsters discussing 80s Who. Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you. And Adrian James, hi to you. Evening, everyone. I've just ordered my season 21 box set today from HMV. Good for you. Good for you. Mark Reeves, a doctor that changes his outfit. Have you ever heard the like? Yeah, not as much as somebody we could mention, but we won't go to there. And as much as I love Cave, says Davy B, I would have loved more of the Fifth Doctor and Peri.
Yeah, good call. Yeah. Yeah.
I think, though, I know Big Finish have done some other stories between Planet Frankie and Androzani, which is a real shame because
Of course we have.
the fact that he sacrifices himself for someone he hardly knows makes it more powerful. The fact he's had 10 stories in between makes it less powerful, which is a real shame for me, you know?
Oh, to me as well, but Bob Vanish doesn't count anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. But if you wanted more of that, that's what we're kind of saying, really. But yeah.
Yeah, you can go and do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's lots to talk about with this season, of course, because we do have some fantastic stories. I was saying there. I remember the thrill. You were mentioning just there, Graham, as well about that. I remember it was a massive thrill watching Warriors of the Deep, and we covered this in our review a couple of years ago. But I can still remember when I look at Warriors of the Deep today, and bearing in mind, people, I don't have the season 21 Blu-ray box set at this time. I'm still looking at things like the DVD. So, you know, when I watch that story, I just am taken straight back to that night. I think it was a Friday night, I think, the 5th of January then. It must have been because the year after it was a Saturday. So I'm sure it must have been. But anyway, it was a case of, you know, I remember that scene of the underwater base and Sentinel 6, and it was just like, wow, this is looking good. Even those interior TARDIS scenes at the beginning of Warriors. I love that. It was just it set it up for me, Graham. The whole series.
The new console room looked great, didn't it? That was so lovely.
It looked good. Yeah,
it was. I mean, like the whole, you know, like we said, the whole. What's the word? I think back in those days, I recall a fair bit of publicity. Obviously, the Doctor Who magazine was with previews and stuff, and I think I recall coming soon trailers on BBC, which set the mood. And I remember, didn't the anniversary special have a picture of the Malice? Didn't it?
Yes.
I think, and that I remember being and the promise it was going to be like the Demons really got me interested and wet my whistle for it. So it wasn't disappointed. It was a good story. Maybe a bit short.
Do you remember back in the day when they had the trailers? They had one trailer. It's on the DVD of Warriors of the Deep. It's also obviously on the Blu-ray set of the wonderful trailer of the 4 stories. A little bit from Warriors, a bit from Awakening, a bit from Frontios, and a tiny tease of the Daleks at the end, which was lovely, absolutely lovely. Yeah,
I don't remember that at all.
It's on the DVD. Yeah.
I must have a look at it. I don't remember watching it. I might have done, and I just probably forgotten. Age.
That was very exciting. That's what I thought about it. It was great. Just the Daleks coming back, particularly, was superb. Yeah.
And I think in comparison to season 20, where it wasn't like so much monster centric, this seemed to have lots of monsters, which for a young lad was what you wanted. It was lots of monsters, lots of good villains, no wishy-washy. There was very much, you know, like the Sharaz Jek, the Master, the Gravis. There was lots of great monsters, great villains. I quite like the Cold War stuff in Warriors as well. Even as a youngster, I kind of got it, you know, so that was quite good.
Well, I mean, even as a 14-year-old, you got that. But it wasn't like, you know, they do today. It wasn't any lecturing or anything like that. It was just based around the fact that the human race is never going to change. And quite right, you know, because Johnny Byrne was more or less right. We're still in that position today where you've got power blocks ready to destroy each other.
But it didn't need to be rammed home, did it? Because we were aware of it at the time, because it was very much in the press anyway. So it wasn't like we weren't aware of it. I mean, we talked about this with Ian as well, but you know, protect and survive adverts and things like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
and we were taught about it at school. This is what you are living through now. In things like modern studies class and stuff like this. But it was never done in any lecherous way. It was always done with a, you know, this is just fact. This is what's happening. Darren Zone is pointing out it was Thursdays and Fridays for season 21. I thought it might be. Thank you so much. Darren Reed, how did fate make Grade, Michael Grade, watch Warriors of the Deep and not Frontios, Resurrection or Caves? I know. Yeah. The story for that is, we've mentioned it before on the show as well, that Warriors of the Deep, Michael Grade used to have loads of televisions in his office, of course, as you may be aware. And he was watching everything that was on every channel as well as his own, which was BBC One, so that he could see what the competition was up to. And it's
hope he had a TV license, that's all I'm saying.
Several, I hope. And the legend had it that one night, of course, during the broadcast of Warriors of the Deep, and we know it was one of the last 2 episodes, he saw the Merker coming on screen, and he basically went off on one and said, "What the hell is this?" And that's when Doctor Who's fate was sealed. And from then on, he knew that thing was coming off the air. So it was actually during Warriors of the Deep, its broadcast, that the decision was made to take it off as soon as possible. And he would never like it ever again.
It's such a shame, isn't it? Such a shame, because I think it's got a lot of potential. Warriors of the Deep. The first 2 episodes are really quite strong. When the Merker appears, that's when it goes downhill a little bit. But it had so many problems, didn't it? And to give it, a bit of defence here, so many problems. It had to very little preparation time to get the effects ready, all that kind of stuff. So, but Michael Grade always says, he watches Star Wars and Close Encounters, but they had a big budget. We didn't,
we've said it before, haven't we? I would love to say Michael Grade. I mean, it's all. It doesn't matter now. It's 42 years ago. But if he wanted it to be,
it does.
if he wanted it to be serious, he should have thrown more money at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And said, look, here's more money.
Looking at it as an adult now, you can't help but notice wonky sea devil heads and some bits are, there's some bits you do struggle with, but like you say, it's done and done. But there are bits that you think, oh my word. And I think we said on the review, I remember talking of the Silurians with the light flashing was a bit like, what's that?
Yeah, I never liked that. They're not Daleks. But, the director, God love him, Pennant Robertson, got that wrong, didn't he? There, but I mean, we know that this is great. One of the brilliant things about our season overviews is that we can look back with hindsight. So this is 42 years ago. We're living in the world of trade unions, still-ish. They're on their way out due to Thatcher. The power is on the way out, by the way. That's what I mean by that. And then you've got things like, there's still lighting for theatre rather than television. So, Warriors of the Deep would have looked better with, as Pete Harrington's saying to us here, Warriors of the Deep just needs the lighting to be taken down a little. It would alter the mood and add so much. I totally agree. If it was done now, Pete, wouldn't it be? It'd be quite gritty now, wouldn't it? Because it'd be done on film. It would be done on location. It would be done somewhere rough looking.
One thing about it, though, is in its defence as well, the model work is superb in this. It really is. And that's got lots of atmosphere, especially underwater stuff. Where it looks like the Silurian slipper flying past, but it looks very atmospheric. You know what I mean?
It's brilliant stuff. And again, it was the BBC, the effects guys at the BBC doing what they do best, wasn't it? Because it just looks great. The lighting in that section for the underwater bit is spot on perfect. It's great. Sadeko, the villains were not wishy-washy. My problem with the season is that the Doctor mostly still was until... My problem with the season is that the Doctor mostly still was until Caves. You mean wishy-washy? Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay.
I actually think this is Davison's best performance this season as the Doctor. And before season 21 was coming out, as I had to do this, I thought I'm going to watch Davison again and try and reappraise him. So I watched 19 and 20, and I've loved him. He's really underrated, I think. He needs more praise, definitely. Yeah.
I noticed it at the time, Paul, watching this back in 84. And thank you, Stephen, for saying, Paul, in 1984, a colour television licence in the UK cost £46.
Good God, as much as that.
But you got your money for it back then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're kids. Our parents are paying that a year.
Yeah.
God love all our parents. They were scrimping and scraping left, right, and centre. It's the 80s for crying out loud, And we didn't, as the kids we were, to teenagers we weren't thinking about TV licenses. We were thinking about which Doctor Who person is going to be on Saturday Superstore for crying out loud.
Exactly. Get your VHS or your cassette ready to record the interview.
It came on nationwide. But thanks for that, Stephen O'Neill. And we've got a super chat here. Thanks for the Chorus Sci-Fi Fantasy evening, folks. Well, good evening to you. Mine turned up yesterday, season 21 box set, and was just about to show my nephew The Caves of Androzani until I saw your stream. I've stopped with the limited editions now as I ran out of shelf space. Standard editions from now on. That's one of the reasons I always get the standards as well, because the
Yeah. Well, this one is actually probably one of the thicker ones as well. It's really quite broad.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of DVD Blu-rays in this one, I seem to remember, though.
It's about 10, I think. Yeah, 10 or 11. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
10 or 11. But thanks for that core of sci-fi fancying. Welcome to my world and the Legion of James's world, where you will now have to wait about 20 years before you get a release.
Yeah.
Raymond
I can't
Williams,
wait. I have no patience. That's my problem.
He's got no patience. He has to have everything when it comes out.
I can't. Easter has to come tomorrow, really, to be honest. Yeah. For Master
Raymond
Pack,
Williams is saying to us, despite the 2-second clip from The War Between the Land and the Sea in the new version of Warriors of the Deep, I've enjoyed the new special edition Warriors of the Deep. It greatly improved the story. It's a 6 out of 10 instead of a 3 out of 10. Oh, that's good to know.
Good. Yeah.
Itagoshi, nice to see you. Don't worry about it. And Legion of James is saying no amount of light dipping is going to hide that karate kit. Yeah,
well, this is where I can give you some more information without giving too many spoilers. It has been edited appropriately to make that scene a bit better. Okay,
Gosh.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but that scene works much better, and it's comical more for the right reasons now than the wrong reasons. If that a little bit of a clue. I won't spoil it. Okay, yeah.
Stephen Brannick is pointing out that 1984 on Doctor Who was so dark it had a higher death count than that of the Terminator.
Yeah, that was just Resurrection alone, I think. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, big heavy story there.
But moving forward a bit, it's quite good that it all kind of ties in with Tegan just not enjoying it anymore. I'm not finding this fun. It is too, it's too much for me, and I'm going to walk away from it all, which ties in because that particular story, when you watch it as an adult, there is literally a bloodbath, isn't it? And quite, people getting shot down for no real reason, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, like the chappie with the mine detector thingy, and the policeman gunning down the tramp guy at the beginning. But we move on to a bit too fast. But I love that story.
No, it's fine. You can talk about it in any order you want. The thing about Resurrection for the Daleks for me, now we have to remember that Resurrection of the Daleks back in the day was actually shown here in the UK as 2 45-minute episodes. Now, it was altered because of the Winter Olympics of 1984.
But didn't it make it special, JT? Didn't it make it special? The fact it was an extra long episode. To me, it was like, the Daleks are back, and they'd even changed the time and the length of the episode. We're going to have 2 blockbuster episodes, and it opened with that really gritty atmospheric scene, and I was completely sold. I loved it.
I remember being quite annoyed about it.
Did you? Were you?
Yeah, because at that point, my family were traveling a lot between Liverpool and Scotland. And, there was an episode that I didn't get to see of Resurrection of the Daleks for years. And that was episode 2.
Oh, no.
Because they pushed the 2 episodes together. And we were on a train. And I remember sulking like crazy because I was listening to it. And nobody we knew at that point. We'd had a VCR before, but we didn't have one at that point because other things were happening in our lives. And none of the rest of the family did either. And I had to wait for, I think it must have been about 8 months before I got to see Resurrection of the Daleks Part 2. I was not impressed that it was pushed to 2 45 minutes. But what did impress me about the episode I saw at the time was the fact that, we're talking about the high death rate and all this sort of stuff in there.
Yeah.
I think it just emphasized the fact that the Daleks were dangerous.
Oh, completely.
They're far more dangerous than this, definitely.
Yeah. I loved it. It made them the real credible threat, didn't it? And alongside the location filming, the weather, it was to me it was brilliant. It was a real return to glory, and I'd already loved the previous 3 stories, especially Frontios. So this was another real positive boost.
Yeah.
Going back to length of episodes, guys, I prefer the 4-part version myself personally. I often watch that more than the 2-part version because the cliffhanger in part 1 with the Doctor sees the Daleks for the first time in ages is absolutely brilliant. And Davidson's reaction, like a real close-up of his face and his reaction of shock. Yeah. And that's a great cliffhanger. That's more effective than the one with for part 2 when Stein reveals himself. That's exciting. Yeah.
I agree with you, Paul, as well. I like watching the 4-episode version as well. Thank goodness we got that years later, didn't we? But it shows as well that the original style for it, the 4-episode, would have worked beautifully twice a week. So but oh gosh, Darren's agreeing with you, Graham, that this was exciting when Resurrection went out as a double-length episode. It felt like event TV. It actually was, and if you remember, Darren, it was billed as event television at the time. We'll come to this when we start looking at our Resurrection of the Daleks review, of course, at some point. But it was event television. They made a big trailer, didn't they, saying a double episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And the Radio Times went mad with a version of that picture I showed, and all this sort of stuff about the Daleks are back and all this.
Do you remember the Radio Times picture though? The back is slightly different to one you showed.
Yes.
The Dalek looked massive. It looked like a giant Dalek.
Yeah,
What's going on there? That's too big. What's going on?
Lovely angle.
Yeah, great angle. Yeah.
I was lucky enough last year to go and see Resurrection on the big screen at the Riverside Studios, and they had Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, Matthew Robinson, and the lady, I don't know her name, who played. No, I do know the lady, Sneh Gupta, who played.
Yes.
And she was lovely because she apparently now has long since gone back to India.
Yes,
although she was aware of the popularity of the program, she was genuinely amazed by the fact that the studio, that the cinema was packed out with people to watch a program from 40 odd years ago, and she was so humble and so appreciative of Matthew Robinson for casting her in the role, because as she said, back in the 80s, it wasn't easy to get work, so she was really, really humbled by doing it. And afterwards, she was outside with her phone videoing. They had a real Dalek. They had a Dalek there, and she was filming the Dalek going up and down the concourse and stuff. And generally, really nice lady. And her love for the memories that came back was really nice to see, actually. And also the program looked really good on the cinema screen. It was really nice to watch it. Liked it.
Well, one of the extras they have a making of documentary for Resurrection on the box set, which wasn't on the DVD, and she features on that as well, which is lovely.
Does she?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, that is good news. Yeah,
I've seen bits of that. Darren Reed is saying, I think the shot of Peter and the Dalek was due to be the Radio Times cover, but the Winter Olympics, Torval and Dean got it instead, and the picture went into John Craven's back page. You're absolutely right. And I can tell you as well that a certain producer was not happy about that for years.
That'd have been a lovely cover as well, wouldn't it? It's a great picture.
It was set up to be the cover pull. You can actually tell because of the look of the Dalek and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And apparently a special press release with the Radio Times photographer had been set up, and Peter had been told about it, blah, blah, blah. And that was the one they were going for. And Darren, you're absolutely right. They went with the Torval and Dean cover.
And aside from the 5 Doctors, we hadn't had a Radio Times cover for many a year, had we?
No, exactly.
Into dimensions in time, of course, but they.
Is that canon?
No,
it's not canon, no, but it's a cover.
It's also years later at this point as well. Matthew Robinson had a fantastic vision for Resurrection and produced something very special, says Matt Enspiel. Absolutely, he really did, and it comes across because it is very. What's the word? It's very dark in the script, isn't it? This is Eric Saywood bringing this element into this. It's very mature. It's a thriller in a sense as well. Yeah. There's so much mystery to Resurrection of the Daleks too, isn't it? I mean, the policeman. I remember being the policeman being. I remember being quite shocked at that at the point. Oh my, they're not what I thought they were.
Yeah. They must have gone to trouble for that. I don't remember at the time, but it's such a. Making policemen, a bit like Terror of the Autons, making policemen unfriendly is a bit of a worrying thing to do. I loved it at the time, but for younger viewers, it could be quite a scary thing to see.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what time it was on. Was it 7 o'clock?
Something like that. Yeah.
It was quite a lot there. And Smoking 2, I remember that was unusual for Doctor Who, says Pete Harrington. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But dramas were taken seriously in those days, wasn't it?
And the chap with the virus on his skin is quite horrific, isn't it? It's quite grim,
Yeah.
You were saying about the Daleks being really, really kind of aggressive in this. I love that sequence when they come into their control room and they come in and they shoot them and they can die in slow motion. That is really lovely, lovely shot. Yeah. Really nice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, it was so exciting because we were building up to this. We've been told that they were coming back definitely for this season because, of course, Sentinel was supposed to be the year before. BBC Strike saw that off. So it was great that we were still getting the story into this season. But we were excited that as fans, we knew the Daleks were coming back. It's good to see that the general public sort of responded to them as well, because it got a lot of press. The now famous photo call we know of Mark and Peter and Janet with the Daleks at Butler's Wharf, all those lovely pictures you can see. I remember that being in the press weeks before but the Daleks were back on telly.
It's really funny from these photographs and the one you showed that could have been potential Radio Times cover. The Daleks look really good. I mean, in good condition. And then they appear on screen and they look really battered. They look really like they've been in the wars, literally. Yeah.
And I've been told on good authority that apparently they look even worse than the new version on the Blu-ray because it's been cleaned up, and you can see they're very, very battered. And it's strange actually, because I was watching Planet of the Daleks this afternoon on Eden, and those Daleks look beautiful.
They do. Yes, I wish they did like those Daleks in Resurrection. They'd be much better.
Yeah, why did they change them? I don't know. Cool and dry. Hello, Mark. When Warriors of the Deep aired in America, it was during a PBS pledge drive, and it was stretched out to nearly 4 hours. That was driven me mad.
Oh, God.
Yeah, driven me mad. And Mark A. Rice, nice to see you, fella. Do we think this story was improved by the 45-minute episode runtime? Well, I don't even know that they even thought about it. As far as I'm concerned, they just shoved the 2 episodes together because the BBC said we can't put it on in your normal schedule. It's either that or have 2 weeks off, which I know a certain producer did not want at all. Yeah. He didn't want to push it back any further. So as far as I'm led to believe, he took the option of pushing it to 245 minutes. But if it hadn't been for those 2 Resurrection of the Daleks episode, we wouldn't have got season 22 in that format.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting. Terry Malloy, good in this.
Terry Malloy is good in this.
Yeah.
It's, because I thought, sorry, jumped a bit there, but Davros in Destiny was fine, no problem at all. And as a 9-year-old, I wasn't critical, but looking at it as an adult and seeing this Davros. Obviously, the mask was quite considerably different, but I soon forgot all about it because Davros was back, and Davros was nasty, and Davros was conniving, and he had Dirty Den with him as well, but we didn't know that at the time.
I remember Michael Wisher describing Termaloy's Davros as like Eno Sharples, which I think he's about right.
Yeah, he did, and it does. We've got this from Domgos, and the interview with the creator of the new Davros mask was good. He admitted he got the mask wrong, as it looks nothing like the Genesis mask. I mean, let's look at that again. We all know what Davros looks like from this point on. I remember being a bit sort of, what's the word? I was a bit unimpressed with it as a 14-year-old. I think they should have kept it. Yeah, well, he doesn't look like he did.
Yeah, it's not as naturalistic as Michael Wisher's one, is it? That's more humor. This looks more like a mask, if it makes sense. Whereas it's blended a bit more and was more naturalistic, I think, But still, it became the Davros of the 80s, didn't it? It was the 80s Davros, because he looked like this in his other stories as well.
And I think his Terry was so good as Davros, he kind of looked, because I was, like yourself, JT, I was a bit like, it's not much like the original Davros. It looked somewhat different. But because Terry was so good in this, and obviously I think he carried on that sort of level of quality in his other 2 stories, you kind of overlooked it, and he was really good. And he was very evil in this, wasn't he? And conniving, I thought, really clever.
Well, that was the thing as well. I mean, as someone who didn't see the second episode for ages at that point, I knew when it was setting up. I mean, I got a thrill as a 14-year-old when the screen goes up and he's released from his carbon, the ice pack, basically. Because I knew that he was going to be mad. He'd been there for 90 years, as established after Destiny of the Daleks. 90 years, and he's conscious. So he's had 90 years to think about how he's going to exact his revenge.
Yeah.
And I remember being very excited to think about how this, and I was so looking forward as well. You mentioned it earlier, Paul. I was so looking forward to the 5th Doctor finally meeting the Daleks in his last days, basically, as well as Davros. Could this be the Doctor? Says Davros. I love that when I saw it eventually. I thought, oh my God, this is great stuff. Pete Harrington is saying it still works at 45 minutes for me. Rory Neal is saying that Davros masks look a bit cartoon-like. And our very own lady of the chat is saying he looks like something from Talking Heads. He does actually, doesn't he? Yeah. Or pickled like gherkins in a jar.
You can't quote that. You can't quote that. It's not allowed. It's not canon. What are you doing?
Stephen O'Neill is saying to us, JNT hated the Dalek-like helmets of Lytton's troops.
Oh, yeah.
Did not have the time to change them. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, that's true. I remember reading. Did he say that in one of his audios, or did he say that in the magazine, that he wasn't very happy? But John was very sort of protective over anything that was at all phallic.
Yes, yeah.
If there was anything that people could get at and claim to be something that he didn't want the children or his young audience to know.
He would have loved Irato, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was around at that time, wasn't he? He was production unit man. You
He was
probably saw that. And thought, oh my
production
God,
manager,
what's going on? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Can you imagine him today with all the crap they churn out today?
Oh.
Well, didn't he change the design of the hemovores because one of them
Yes.
looked a bit like a bit
Yes.
phallic, like
Well, that was the curse of Fenric.
yeah, the
For the
hemovores.
wolves.
Yeah.
Had the Daleks used germ warfare before? Said Mark A. Wright. They tried to in Planet.
And they've got a plague missile in Death of the Daleks as well. They're going to drop on the Exelon and stuff. Yeah,
I have to give credit where credit's due. Eric had done his homework for this because he'd obviously gone and looked at Genesis and Destiny to see where the show was up to with the Daleks, and this is a continuation of the. But we unfortunately now we get that for each Dalek story. It's a continuation of the story. For the last few years of the show's life. You know, but at least in this one, he'd done his work to say, well, this is what the Daleks do. And at one point, you're actually thinking as well, the Daleks are back in control here because Davros is nowhere around them. Yeah. And the big twist in this is that they don't want him anywhere near them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's continuing that thing from Genesis. We don't need you.
Well, it's funny you mention about the continuation part because I remember even as a youngster when I watched it as a lad, you know, wondering would the Movellans feature because they were mentioned, weren't they? And I remembered them quite clearly from Destiny. I must admit, I don't think they would have fitted in very well with that look, would they, in this kind of gritty performance? But I did wonder if they were going to show because, you know, I had clear memories of Destiny. And, you know, I just wondered if they would feature. But you're right, it was definitely a continuation, wasn't it? Genesis, Destiny, onto Resurrection.
Yeah. And then it changes again for season 22, doesn't it? But it was just the thrill. You'll be the same, Who viewers. It was the thrill of finally the Fifth Doctor getting to meet the Daleks and Davros as an added bonus, you know, in his final stories. You know, it was just exciting.
Like I said, that scene when he meets them for the first time in the warehouse, and then they shoot the eye out, and then they push it out the window. That's superb. Great moment. Yeah.
That always makes me laugh then because I didn't notice it on the original episode, of course, because we didn't have the high quality. But I did notice it on the DVD at a Doctor Who convention after the DVD had come out, when they freezed it down and said, "Everybody, look at the state of the Dalek. This must be take 4."
Yes, it's a bit battered. Yeah. It's even more obvious on the Blu-ray, just to say that now. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. We've got Dom go. Hello, Dom. We're saying to us, I laughed out loud when Peter Davison said that Rodney Bewes didn't know what was going on, or if he was a goodie or a baddie.
But he's good in this, isn't he? To be fair.
I love him in Likely Lads. I'm not overly convinced with him, for me personally. I like him as an actor. I liked him in Likely Lads very much. Yeah,
quite a brave casting, isn't it, from John? Because from Matthew, because you know he's so associated with comedy, and to have him in this role, especially in this story, which has got no humorous overtones at all, really, is it? It's a really dark story, and to have him in it. Yeah. And obviously, like Rula Lenska and stuff plays a good part, doesn't she? She's interesting, but it's a cracking story, you know. And I liked. I was quite glad, although I think, to be fair, I think he does better in Attack of the Cybermen. But I like Maurice Colburn. I think he's good in this.
Yeah, he's very good in this. Yeah. I mean, there's so many characters here. You know, that first episode, I remember thinking, what is this? Because it was so different. It wasn't typical of a Doctor Who because it was quite dark. It was quite mysterious. The musical score was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
You had Rula Lenska's character, who you just thought, is she a goodie or a baddie? You had the Ronnie Bewes character, who you thought was a goodie because he was so weak and feeble. You had the Lytton character, which you knew immediately, he's a baddie and he's not going to get along with the Doctor at all. It was just one of these things where, you know, the layers to the characters. Now, when you look at what had happened before, Warriors of the Deep, The Awakening, and Frontios, which you've got to come to because I love Frontios.
Oh, yeah.
Each of them are different, but they're all sort of building up, in a sense, to the darkness of Resurrection.
Yeah.
Good and then point. That's it, because it changes again until, well, Planet of Fire isn't as dark, and then Caves is dark, but in a different way, because that's definitely an adult thriller. And then you've got Twin Dilemma, which just goes completely camp in a sense.
OTT Panto, yes.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. Jethrick, it's good to see it. I don't like it that the Movellans won the war. If they won, how come we've never seen them again? Exactly. I don't think
it was done as a disco dancing competition. The Daleks can't move very well. That's what happened.
I bet they got their own back, the Daleks, because the Daleks went on to become dominant, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Paul Ure, Daleks used the plague to invade Earth in 2157, and it was mentioned in the Dalek invasion of Earth set in 2167. Stephen Braddock also saying the Daleks bombarded Earth with diseases from space before their invasion. All these little things that happen off screen, which is lovely, because as kids, you just go, imagine it, don't you? Imagine a space war and all this. And Dystopian Nightmare, you are right with this. I think I remember the nasty policeman being complained about. Oh my God, absolutely. There was a big... Was this the one where it was raised in Parliament?
It may have been, yeah. I know
You're right.
the Autons certainly was.
Yeah. And it emulated the Autons, didn't it? With especially the opening scene. I mean, dear.
Yeah. But you're right, though, Dystopian. I remember that Mary Whitehouse especially, she was not happy with this. And it was in the papers the week after, wasn't it? Or whatever the story had finished. It was either after episode 1 or episode 2. She was not happy at all. She really went for this. How dare you show the police as somebody who you can't... Because back then, of course, we were taught, if you get lost or you need the time, you go and find a policeman.
Yeah.
You don't hear that anymore in these days in Britain, do you?
Don't see policemen anymore.
No, that's
going back to the opening scene, though, see the old guy gets killed. Is that George Tovey from Primrose of Mars or not? He looks very like him. Very like
Chat,
him.
what do you know? I don't know. I don't think so. The chat will know.
Sure.
Chat will know. And Mark Greaves, thank you for your super chat here. Hiya, guys. Speaking of the Daleks, something I've wanted to ask you for ages. The superb Dalek Invasion 2150. Could you see it in episodic form, and which Doctor to do battle? I could see Invasion 2150 in episode form because it was based on an episode series.
Yeah.
I could see it redone today, that as well. And which Doctor?
William Hartnell. He still got a chance to do it, yeah.
He would have been great in the films, wouldn't he? Being a film actor.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of Peter. Peter's Doctor with a budget. Yeah. Really, I think he would do quite well. But I don't know. That's a hard question, isn't it, guys?
It's very tough. Very tough.
I'm trying to work out where the cliffhangers might be. The Dalek coming with the water, obviously, that's one of them. Yeah.
Yes.
What else after that? Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. John Keeley, thank you. Thanks for that, Mark. And John Keeley, good to see you. Thank you for your super chat. As Cave is always voted the best Doctor Who story ever, why do you think Caves is always the best? Wow, great question. So let's move on let's overview the Caves of Androzani. Why is it the best? I think it's because back in 1984, it was a bloody culture shock.
Yeah.
And for me, cliffhangers. Two out of 3 were just astonishing. I mean, really top draw. At the end of the first episode, I had no idea how they were going to resolve that. I had no idea. I didn't see it coming at all. Characterization of the villain, or are they the villain? Who's the villain? They're all villains. Everybody, everything, the performances.
Everybody's a bloody villain in this one.
The music, everything comes together superbly well, doesn't it?
Even Morgus's secretaries are criminal as well.
Well, this is the brilliant thing. I mean, when you think of Caves of Androzani, let's show the picture again because he's fabulous.
Right.
You think of Sheriff Jack and this beautiful performance from this fabulous actor, and you just think, wow, he's created this villain behind a mask that's gone down in Doctor Who history for not only finishing off the 5th Doctor, but it's a case of being able to be standing out as Robert Holmes, what a genius, as a proper villain. But as we're saying here, everybody's a bloody villain in this. The only 2 innocents are the Doctor and Peri. You get dragged into this thing. That's what it still tenses me up, Graham, to this day. When I watch the Caves of Androzani now, which between you all, me and you lot, I do quite frequently because I love it. But it still frustrates me that they just appear on Androzani, and then they're embroiled because of the Doctor's bloody curiosity into this warfare, which eventually kills him. And it's just shocking. They're the only 2 people telling the truth there, but because everybody else are in this web of intrigue and lies, nobody believes them.
I've become a fan friends who think it's a bit overrated, but I love it. I don't know how you can say it's overrated. I love it. It's absolutely superb. It's probably the best Regeneration stories ever. Definitely, without a doubt.
The brilliant thing about this, Paul, is that we all know it's a Regeneration story. But if you were a Notwe, or and even watching it today, you wouldn't know until the end. But you get that little glimpse, don't you, at the part when he starts to regenerate. Because I remember thinking at the time, what the hell's this? Because all this effect starts to happen on the Doctor, and he shakes it off, doesn't he? And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's happening now.
probably as well, because normal viewers who are watching it, and maybe watched it on and off, Tom Baker did it for 7 years, and he's been here like 2.5 years, and he's going, "Don't go, it's too early," you know. And they probably thought it won't be regenerating; it'll be fine. You'll have the milk, it'll be fine.
But the other thing about Caves we have to mention at this point, of course, is in a break with all the tradition. This was done a story early, so Peter didn't get the full season. So this was another break. So because of that, that's the other reason when I'm thinking when that regeneration stuff started to happen and when he's on that spaceship, I'm thinking they're doing it now. The Doctor's going to change now. And then he shakes it up. It was just, but as you were saying as well, you know, some fantastic characterizations here. I mean, Morpheus is bloody horrible, isn't he?
Yeah, he's horrible.
Oh, what he does to the President there as well is awful when he the left shaft. See, that's horrendous.
Has that changed in the special edition? Have they tidied that up so it's not obviously CSO? Does anybody know?
I've not got there yet, but probably yes, I would imagine. Yeah,
I think they would have done, wouldn't they? Pete Harrington is saying to us, it is very Shakespearean in its tone. It blooming well is.
All the asides to camera, which were actually a mistake in direction, worked brilliantly. Yeah,
and thank God Graham kept them in, because wasn't that a shock? Do you remember that when you're watching it on the Thursday night, the first episode, and he does the aside? I remember. Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in Doctor Who or anything before, breaking the fourth wall like that.
It really elevated this story, though, didn't it? I mean, the fact that it all came together for a regeneration story with such a strong performance. It was so adult-like and gritty, wasn't it? The bit when I can't remember the character's name, when he's at the end of the cliff and he's forcing him with the gun in his mouth and stuff. It's, oh my God, this is quite strong stuff, isn't it? You know? But I loved it. And it stands like we're more as an adult, I think.
For you, Paul, as well, the old tramp code to Stephen O'Neill was Albert Welsh.
Thank you very much for that. I'll sleep tonight. I've always thought for many years it was George Tovey. It looks very like him, I think, you know, but...
Steve Braddock is saying not only did they gun down the space prisoners, they gunned down that poor innocent old man. Shocking at the time. That was back in Regeneration, Darren Reed is saying the Caves episode 3 cliffhanger is amazing. So you see, I'm not going to let you stop me now. That's what I mean, the urgency and the drama. And by this point, I think as viewers, as fans, we knew he's dying. He's dying at this point.
And Peter Davison is fantastic in this. It's probably his best performance, and he's superb. Really is.
This is the Doctor. I think Mr. Davison might agree with this from what he's said in conventions over the years. This is his Doctor, how he should have been his entire run. And had he been given scripts of this quality, I think we would have seen an action-packed, very dramatic, very different, very on the edge Doctor, because in this one, of course, he knows he's running out of time, and we're seeing him losing control of everything that he's been bottling up for 3 years.
But he really comes across as a real hero in this as well, doesn't he? And that really shines, you know?
It does. As Davy Boy saying to us here, Caves Part 3 always hits me because the fifth Doctor, is so damned determined to keep going even when you know he's dying. I can't imagine the first to the fourth Doctors doing that kind of cliffhanger. No, it wouldn't have happened. This is one of those unique stories, Davy, what I would say, I can't see any of the other Doctors, including those that come after him, in Caves of Androzani. This is Peter's.
This is a Peter story.
And Robert Holmes does him proud.
And he's also quite sarcastic, isn't he? He's really tells 17, trying to get too hysterical about what he said. Oh, you're dying. Trying to get too hysterical, doesn't he, or something like that? He's got some.
Or all that business when they were Chellac in the camp, and he says, "Sir." Yes, sir, and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's lovely.
Brilliant. I mean, Robert Holmes was, and this is probably one of his all-time greats. And after such a long time away, it's great to have him. You know, it really was a really powerful, strong story. And as a kid, even as a little boy or youngster, you know, at the time, I remembered, although I wasn't aware quite what he'd done, but I knew the name Robert Holmes meant it could be good. It could be pretty good. And the fact that he'd written the Regeneration one made me excited as a kid to see what he would do with it, where he would go with it.
I'm going to be called all sorts of stuff now, like ist and everything, but I don't care. As a little boy, as teenage boys, this was what we wanted. This was action. You know, the effects of the guns to the point where the film was shaking.
You get lines on the film. Yeah.
I mean, I was gripped by this. This was action-packed Doctor Who. This was adult Doctor Who, you know. I remember there was an adult around me at the time. I can't remember if it was my father or my uncle. But they sat down one particular evening and for the first time in years were there from the beginning to the end of the episode.
And they loved it as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, how's he going to get out of that? So it must have been one of the big cliffhangers, actually. And because I remember turning around saying, well, he doesn't. He dies in the next one.
He doesn't.
Spoilers.
I remember even the name Spectrotoxemia. It sounded so exotic and horrible and final. It was just a really, really good story. There's so much, isn't there? The music, the direction, like we said earlier, Graham Harper's direction is superb on this.
Yeah.
So many good guest stars. Wonderful.
You're talking about the music. I mean, the scores for a lot of this season are among my favorite, I think, in Doctor Who history. I do love them. But especially for this one, The Case of Androzani, it does, in a sense, mirror the haunting, doom-laden score for Logopolis.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's so, the score in itself, and you can listen to it on various channels here on the Tube of Who, as we know. And of course, it's on the 50th anniversary album and all this sort of stuff. It even came out as its own CD for Caves of Androzani. So if you've got that, you'll know what I mean. It's haunting. The whole thing, it is very sort of echoey, as though it's set in the caves. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
it's funny. On this, we have the magma creature, and that always gets slagged off. I don't think it's that bad, personally. We've had worse. It's not that bad, but they have, as you saw in the trailer for the Blu-ray set, they have done a bit of work on that as well. That they have with the Murka, but I don't think it needed it. To be honest, it was fine.
No,
I don't either.
Is it?
No, but because Graham, it was shot at a certain angle and it was in the dark, I remember thinking, well, that's not bad. And then when I saw it in similar situation, at an angle in the dark in the Blackpool exhibition, I remember thinking, it actually looks okay. It's not bad at all.
Even on the Shadow, I think the Shadow introduction that Tom does, he passes it and it looked fine. It's like,
I can't remember. John Keeley's thinks was, for me, it was the best that the Doctor and Peri are just victims in a gun-running battle, and still he is triumphant, even at the cost of his own life. Matt Spiel is saying to us, I remember when George Lucas brought out the special edition of Star Wars, don't we all? There was a character in Mos Eisley that wore the Sharaz Jek mask. Was there?
Really? Oh.
I have to be honest, Matt, I don't actually watch the special edition now because I've got the original on DVD from all those years ago. So I tend to watch the original, but I'll go and watch the special edition at some point and look out for that.
Yeah.
Sadeko was saying to us, I used to think Morgus was a bit far-fetched as a capitalist villain until I read Hillary Clinton's WikiLeaks.
But going back to Christopher Gable, there's a time bit when he does it, and you actually feel a little bit sorry for him.
Yeah.
It's just weird. You actually feel sorry for the guy, even though he's a complete nasty bit of work.
I think that's the beautiful thing about Sharaz Jek and the way that Robert Holmes has written him. He is a very tragic Shakespearean. Yeah. You do feel sorry for him. He has a story, Paul.
When Peri screams in his face, that's really tragic, and he kind of crawls off, petrified. That's really tragic, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It is. He's a sad character, driven by that sadness, driven by that, again, that need for revenge with Morgus, controlling his own little empire here, and it all falls over. Everything by the end of episode 4 around this planet, and this is why I wish Moffat had never even mentioned it decades later. Everything around this planet and its other planet, sister planet, by episode 4 of this, everything has gone to pot. Everything has been destroyed, including our Doctor. It's a tragedy, epic proportion. It's incredible. Hello, Yokai. Caves is absolutely superb, a sci-fi revenge tragedy. Whenever I watch this, the 5th Doctor becomes my very favourite Doctor. Why did it take so long for Davison to become so good?
Well, he's very good this entire season, I have to say. And having watched his previous season just recently, I think he's underrated. He really is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the fact is, as well, at this point, he knows what he wants to do with the Doctor. He's got the ground running here. He's confident. He's slightly older, and he's leaving. That's the thing.
I wish he stayed one more season. I really do. I like to see one more. Yeah.
If it got the scripts of the caliber of Caves of Androzani, it would have been amazing to see Davison in another series. But I can't see Davison handling Attack of the Cybermen without getting bored. I can see him in Vengeance of Varos quite easily. Mark of the Rani, no. Time Lash, absolutely not. The 2 Doctors, he would have liked it because of Pat. And Resurrection, that would have been altered. Revelation, rather, would have been altered significantly because it's the same Doctor.
Yeah.
You know,
and allegedly, Eric Say would like that one. So allegedly.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us in the chat, everybody. It's great to see you. Sticks Boy is with us, saying to us, Graham, I got to meet Nicola Bryant over the weekend. She's a lovely girl. She is nice, isn't she? She's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely lady. And John, the computer doctor, saying to us, pretty certain Morgus was using a TV remote Maybe it was grunting.
Yeah.
Or ITT.
It was. I had exactly the same one. Yes.
What were you going to say there, Graham?
I was just going to say, I don't know. I mean, I've read books and things, but I've heard people say in fandom that it's not a million miles away from Power of Kroll, the story.
Yeah.
In the way that you've got the Gunrunners, Rum Duck, Shadows Jack,
Yeah.
so similar kind of two old names. Obviously, one's quite a lot superior to the other, without a doubt, and one's not got a giant squid in it. But you know, you kind of always can. But it's,
I just found myself, as you said that, I just found myself crossing my arms and saying that, and going, because that's what I used to do back in the pubs when people say, "Oh, it's like Power of Kroll," and I go, and think about it. And I could
It's got gunrunners in it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, the setting's completely different. It's not got the. I mean, the two stories are not that much, but I've read quite a lot of people have said it's like, you know, Bob Holmes going back and revisiting what he'd done in 1979, sort of thing. What it was, but I don't know.
It's like Kamikaze Guy says here. This is Caves. Holmes getting the plot of Kroll right.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah,
you could say that. Darren Reed is also saying to us here that my class were kept in detention on Regeneration night, and I thought, I don't care if I'm expelled for leaving, but I'm not missing tonight's episode. Well done, Darren.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Well, can't miss that, can you? You can't miss it. No,
there was no way. There was absolutely no way that was going to happen, was it? Mark, you're right. There's subtlety and depth to the acting, especially with Davison, that I don't think I'd previously been seen in Doctor Who. It felt different to anything we'd seen before. Graham Harper showed the way. Yeah, he did.
I think I would give a shout out as well, like I said already, Matthew Robinson, and then in season 19, Peter Grimwade was a great director too. I think those were the three who really got it as an adventure series, I think, and got the action part of it right, whereas other directors didn't.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean by that. Yeah. Again, it was. I remember the shock of when we knew that this was going to be Peter's swan song. We knew it was the last episode for the Fifth Doctor, so I was quite sad at this point, Who viewers. And then what happens, of course, is that the title sequence stops, and you get that planet and that big sting from the music, and then the TARDIS just arriving. A trick that he repeated the year after in Revelation, but it works. It's really good. It's bang straight there, you know. Amazing.
I was upset that Peter was leaving so quickly. It seemed after Tom had been there for literally forever, and Peter just like, already, really?
Yeah. It was a shock to us all, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? It didn't seem that long. That the 3 seasons went by so quickly.
It's all amazing to me because obviously Patrick Troughton said to him, just do 3 years. Like he was thinking he was doing 45 weeks of the year probably at that point.
I think so. I think so. Not realizing they were doing 24 episodes a year. But, you know, I think Peter, in hindsight, and that's a wonderful thing, I think Peter was probably right to go when he did. Yeah. Because can you imagine if he'd been there? Because at this point, Michael Grade was going to axe the show. Can you imagine if Peter had been there the year after and was the one that, he would have had to come back in 86.
Yeah, and he's had such a great career since leaving as well, so you can't change any of that, really. Yeah,
and he did well out of the BBC, unlike the previous Doctors, his immediate predecessors. He did well because he got Campion out of them, and he got Miss Marple out of them, and he got something else I've forgotten.
Very Peculiar Practice as well, which is a cracking series.
Yeah. Spectrox toxemia, says Stephen O'Neill, causes a rash, cramp, spasms, slow paralysis of the thyroid spinal nerve, and finally thermal death, which is the same reaction you get watching Mr. Green Gatwa.
Sadly, there's no cure for that one, though.
And Domgo is saying, don't shout at me, but I do feel that Davison was the last great Doctor. We're not going to shout at you at all because we've all got our opinions on Doctors, haven't we?
Yeah.
But no, good for you. Very good for you. And Legion of James saying Peri and Sharaz Jet were very Phantom of the Opera dynamics. Yeah, they were. I remember that coming along in the monthly at the time when they were reviewing it, saying all this, you know.
There's one thing, one tiny niggle I have about Caves is the makeup they have for Sharaz Jet. I don't think it's grotesque enough to give that great reaction that Peri gives to his face. I wish it was more akin to, because it's very like it, Magnus Greel at the end of part 5 of Talons. That wonderful reveal. If it more like that, that would have been better for me personally. But it's a minor niggle.
I thought it was brilliant at the time. So I know what you mean, but I thought it was great at the time, just thinking, we get to see what he's like. It's just unfortunate for me that they repeat the same thing again in Vengeance of Varos the years, like the second, the immediate year later. They should have just left it. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Great news from Stephen Braddock, who's saying, with the season 21 box set, they've done us proud with the music. Every story has an isolated music track. How wonderful. That's wonderful. I like that. So thanks for that, Steve Braddock. Thank you very much. Despite the title, says Stephen O'Neill, the Doctor notes that the caves are in fact blowholes in episode 1. That is, isn't it? Yeah, which makes it a little bit more.
The blowholes of Androzani doesn't have the same catchy title.
It doesn't really, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. They would have got letters. And Space, John would have had something to say. And Space Peninsula, sad to think, but Caves of Androzani is the last great regeneration story. No regeneration story since even comes close, possibly the parting of the ways, but it doesn't reach the same height. Now, Space Peninsula, I'm glad you brought that out, because when you think about it, this is the last regeneration story we get, because 6 into 7 doesn't get one. You've got 96, 7 into 8. So that's not really his regeneration story in the traditional sense for Sylve, is it? So you're absolutely right. And I actually that only occurred to me recently, actually, when I was thinking about Caves of Androzani, thinking this is the last regeneration story, because I'm not counting the new stuff now. I'm not counting it.
No,
I was disappointed that Davison was leaving, but for me personally, it didn't have as much emotional impact as Tom leaving, obviously. But I'm still disappointed he was going so soon, as Graham said.
I was just.
If he'd done Graham another couple of years, we would have had that emotional attachment to Peter's Doctor, I think, because he would have had that's the reason we all felt when Tom left. Simply because when Tom left, there was an emotional tie there to him. And then Peter great. The Doctor completely destroys Androzani's entire political structure by purely turning up, says Funky. I know, that's the magic of the Doctor, and he doesn't realise it. Delighted to say that we're being joined now by Third Doctor Ian. Hello to you.
Hey.
Hello, so sorry.
Hello.
Don't worry about me.
What time you call them? That's lack of commitment, I'm telling you. That's what that is. Right. Okay. You're back from last time. Okay.
Following your esteemed example.
Okay.
We are doing this in no particular order at all. We're currently talking about Caves of Androzani.
We're doing tangents here. You just arrived in time.
We've mentioned Warriors. We've mentioned Resurrection of the Daleks. We've now ended up in Caves of Androzani. We're not in any order at all. We're just going with the flow.
We've kind of gone every second story, haven't we?
Yeah, totally. Silurian Skies is saying to us, Davidson really matured into the part by season 21. Personally, I think he was cast a few 2 years early, and that's something that Peter would agree with you with. As we know now, because he said that, like, I was too young. I was too young. But you can actually see there's an amazing story. I was watching Forward to Doomsday, guys, last week. The difference between Forward to Doomsday and where he gets in season 21.
Wasn't Forward to Doomsday's first story recorded, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was his first ever performance run. And you can see, as you watch that, even to the other season 19, he's different again, isn't he? I think in Doomsday,
Yeah, well, we were saying, Ian, the difference between season 21 and 20 is huge. It's absolutely
massive. Yeah, it is. It's very noticeable, isn't it? But it's a shame. I genuinely felt, certainly by season 21, Davison had really hit his stride, and it was just such a shame that he listened to Pat Troughton. Damn it. I would have liked to have seen him do another season. Who knows? Nothing against Colin Baker, but who knows? Just that extra year might, and the rest of the 80s might have been significantly different.
I'm just touching on that actually for Dr. Ian, because I was thinking there's no way I can see Peter in those episodes with Colin, apart from possibly Revelation, which would be totally rewritten because it was the same Doctor re-meeting Davros, so that would be a different sort of slant in it. That could have benefited the show, because I don't think Attack of the Cybermen, Vengeance on Varos, or any of the others, I don't think they would have been developed as much as they did, because they would have known Peter was staying. So I think they would have done. It's one of those what ifs, isn't it?
It would be nice to give him a chance to meet the Daleks for a second time as well, and the Cybermen would have been lovely if they did that. But they may have not done that because they did the usual thing, like they did in season 12. Let's bring all the old baddies back to secure the new Doctor, kind of thing.
Yes, that's what
they may have not done that if Davison stayed on for a fourth series.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, because if they'd known there were going to be a full series, they wouldn't have had all the old baddies in. They might have brought back that Tractator thing that Chris Bidmead wanted to do.
Yes, the whole of time, I think it's called. Yeah.
They were very.
I would have liked that. I'd like to have seen more Tractators. I like Frontios.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because we're going to come to that now. We've got the Quarries of Androzani has not the same punch as Styx Boy. Yeah, not the same, is it? The Quarries of Androzani.
Oh, the blowholes even. That was even worse.
But as Darren Reed says, that would have got a completely different audience.
Yeah. After 9 o'clock, after the watershed. That was
It's the kind of job title I expect now, really, isn't it? It's, It's very Gatler, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Oh dear. Moving on. I love the half moon spectacles, says Steve Braddock in Frontios. It made him very first Doctor.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lovely story that Chris Bidmead used to say about this because he and Peter brought those half moon spectacles in, to make the fifth Doctor look slightly older. Yeah. And it was written into the script, wasn't he, that he was having problems after the regeneration with one of his eyes.
Yeah.
Which is funny, I think. It shows that regeneration isn't slightly perfect, as we saw later on in the modern series. But you get all that thing coming up. But they were phased out because everybody forgot about them. The script editor forgot about them. John forgot about them. Peter forgot about them. It's such a shame because it's a nice prop. So when he comes to write this episode, Chris says, Bidmead, they have to get them out again because he thinks the Doctor still has them because that's the character he's writing.
But he loved it. He loved that thing about that kind of a young man in an old man's body kind of thing. That was a fantastic idea. Worked really well. Matt Smith did that kind of thing as well. He was great,
And I think in Frontiers, he kind of really gets that, doesn't he? I've got a confession. I remember in the Doctor Who Monthly season survey voting Frontiers my favourite of the season, even above.
Wow.
I loved it at the time. I thought it was a brilliant story. I love Turlough having a meltdown in the tunnels. And I like spitting and stuff. And
I love that. There's an anecdote in the making of documentary that J&T comes on the talk back and says, Mark, we need to go again. Lovely performance, but you spat on the camera. So
I thought it was a cracking story. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good story. I thought it was potentially quite horrible as well. The book's quite good, isn't it? The novel.
The book's brilliant.
And in that machine thing and stuff, and it's a good read. But I enjoyed it at the time and loved it as a kid. I really enjoyed that one as a kid.
The book brings out the horror of Frontios as well, because of course they weren't going to do what Chris Bidmead wrote in the script and wrote in his book and the Target novels. That thing was supposed to slice the human in half, wasn't it? Dig through the human. The attachments, very cyberish in a sense, horrific into the brain, into the body, driving through the mental power of the human being, that big earth machine or Frontios eating machine. That's horrific. So when you read the book and you think, oh my God, this is not what we got on the telly. I know there's a reason for that, because it would have been put on after 11:30 had they done it like that, had the money for it. But it's scary.
There's actually a picture in the making of a documentary of the side view of the machine, and there's two other heads on the machine. So I don't know whether it suggests that they move round at certain points. I don't know, but it looked even worse when you see the side part of it.
Yeah. Woodhouse 122 was saying to us that Frontios feels a bit like a Hartnell story to me. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
It was really. Sorry, butting again. I thought Frontios, compared to Warriors, down about the lighting, lit so much better, wasn't it? You look how good Frontios was lit with all those green fluorescent lights everywhere and stuff, and the tunnels with the Tractators in was lit really well. Bearing in mind we're talking early 80s, it's.
It shows you that Bidmead arguably understood the restrictions of the BBC, and he had to write it into the script to say dark. Because they wouldn't have used their imagination and possibly looked at the script and thought, we've got to turn the lighting down here. They wouldn't have done that.
But he stretched their budget with the idea of the Tractators, though, because they were not as he envisaged. I wish they were more insect-like. I wish they were more like the Wirren or something like that, because they would be more convincing. I love the actual Tractators themselves, but the Gravis, or it should be called the Mavis, if they're going by current standards of gravity, is actually it's creepy, but it's not as effective as the bland one, the kind of the main Tractators.
The pinky one. The pinky one. The background ones. Because there were several. There were about 6 or 7 of these things, weren't they?
And they're supposed to curl up in balls, weren't they? Like woodlice.
They were supposed to. It was the little arms that got me on the costume, though, because they couldn't really. It again. Of the time, if it was now, unfortunately, though, there wouldn't be costumes now, would they? Ian? They'd be on CGI.
They'd have been totally CGI.
but they're going about the success of season 21 as opposed to others. I remember going to school after these were being shown, and people were talking about it at school again. People were saying, "Did you see this?"
Were they?
And mentioning the Gravis and mentioning Charaz Jack, mentioning the Davros, mentioning, it was getting talked about more, which it hadn't been at my school for many, many years. It was embarrassing before. No one really wanted to talk about Doctor Who. But 21, suddenly people started saying, "Oh, this is good." And I remember the school library, people getting the books out and reading them, and stuff like that. So it's starting to get that little bit of a vibe going. And I thought, I thought it was a big upgrade.
Oh, it certainly was. And again, because you had these creatures in it, you had the Silurians and the Sea Devils, you get the Malice, and then you get the Tractators. This was again, and it's dark. As Darren Reed was saying, Frontios buries its own dead. That's spooky. That whole setup of the planet was spooky.
That shot at the end of part 2 when Norna and Turlough are walking along and you see the back of the Tractators and they turn round and follow them. That is lovely. Really nice touch.
Yeah. Frontios, says Darren Reed, has a very The Invasion-esque incidental music that is Asian instrument, whatever. That's one of the soundtracks, Darren. Stayed with me for 42 years. I will hum this occasionally. There was the last time I hummed this tune in my head was when they were wheeling me down from the ward to to get a scan. And I had the Frontios soundtrack in my head as they're wheeling me down.
It's quite catchy.
It is.
I hope when the nurses said that's Frontios, I'll name it in 3. Yeah.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And your chief clinician's called Dr. Gravis. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be good, wouldn't it, for a new story? Dr. Gravis, we somehow managed to put some sort of... Hey, the Shipmeister's with us. Hello, Shipmeister. How are you? I'm interested to know if the dissolves in the caves of Androzani that were removed on the special edition DVD without explanation have been restored for the Blu-ray. Paul, have you got there yet?
I haven't got to the caves of Androzani yet. I've only got to Resurrection. I've only had it since Saturday. Give me a break, for goodness sake. I'm going as fast as I can. I don't want to peak too soon. I have nothing to watch. Yeah.
Have you not got through it already, Paul? Because you got it 2 days before me. What's going on with you? I mean, honestly,
I've been busy doing other things. I'm trying to have a life at the same time as well. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I haven't
either. You get there eventually, don't you? Steve Bradker says, "This what a classic horrifying idea to be dragged through the earth like the stuff of nightmares." It was the stuff of nightmares, and actually, I done well by the production unit. They managed to, and it was quite horrifying. There's that scene, isn't there, when Plantagenet is being not Plantagenet. What's the other guy's name? Oh God, it's so long ago.
Brazen.
No, he's been taken down under the ground by the Tractators, and then it stops, and they all think he's some sort of hero.
Cockerel. Yeah. I have watched that one, so I'm just saying. Yeah.
But they're just standing around like that.
Yeah.
Pathetically letting it happen, and he's screaming for help. That's a scene.
Tell you what I like about season 21 is Turlough's arc, because you find out a bit about Turlough in this, don't you, with his race memory. And his fear of the Tractators, and he's seen them before, and and then you get a lot more of his backstory on Planet of Fire, which I thought really kind of rounded off Morden Undead quite well, because it didn't make a lot of sense until we knew what he was, and the Mesos Triangle and the Trion prison place, whatever it was. And I just thought it's quite a good, well thought out arc for Turlough. I like Turlough as a companion. I like the idea of the initial. I mean, obviously they didn't develop it very well, but the initial idea of him, it appealed to me like a deliberate sabotager to go aboard the TARDIS and to try and murder the Doctor. Didn't make a lot of sense, because why didn't the black guy just do it himself? But it was a good, clever, and I thought this season was a good arc for him. I like Mark Strickson's acting.
I'm glad he went. No, I'm not being rude to Mark Strickson at all, but I don't think Turlough should have been there. Yeah. What could you do? He should have been there for that trilogy, realised he was wrong, and then gone.
They didn't go far, did they?
No, I mean, look at King's Demons in 20. All he does is stand there in chains. He's doing the usual traditional female role.
in the Five Doctors, he's almost Chameleon. He's hardly in it. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. We will talk about Chameleon, I'm sure, in this.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for everybody that sent me messages and emails over the last couple of days as you're all getting through. Funky is saying to us here, Frontios does have a curious change in the new SFX. And I had this message as well. Frontios was fabulous, and the new FX lifted it. The AI is jarring, and it says, but the effect of the TARDIS coming back together is superb.
Yes.
And then this one also goes on to say, Resurrection of the Daleks looks great with the new FX. And then, of course, our very own Richard, who's on our Blake 7 shows, has done the new models for that. And they look better than the originals, this review says. So thank you for that.
Well, Ian, you've seen Frontios, so you're aware of what happened in the TARDIS coming back together?
I was absolutely displaying outrageous behaviour. I went from Awakening to Resurrection of the Daleks because I was just curious. I wanted to see what they did. I know how the season pans out, so I know I'm not missing any kind of like links, but I just wanted to see if I could get at least Resurrection in before this evening.
Right.
And just to refer to the spaceships, the great models. I just aren't convinced by them at all. I've got to be honest. They just seem too clean, and I don't know. They just don't strike me, as I know the special editions and everything else, but they still don't have loads and loads and loads of money. But when you see some of the fan-made Star Trek CGI with various different classes of starship and stuff like that, they weather them and grain them, and they make them look like they've just come off a cinema screen. And I've got to be honest, the space station and the spaceship in the Resurrection special edition just didn't do it for me at all.
I didn't mind them. There's one shot I didn't like, was the shot of the space station when the Daleks attack it. I didn't like that shot, that a little bit odd. But the actual initial sequences, the first shot of the Dalek ship and then the shot of the space station, I quite liked. And they've added as well actual effects, laser effects for the guns. So the Dalek troopers have got red lasers, and the crew on the space station have green lasers. So at least I've got something to make it a bit more atmospheric. Yeah,
I like how they hit people as well, and you've got the outline.
And the Daleks as well. When they hit the Daleks, that was great too. Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. And the Dalek guns, this slightly still the blue, but very sort of like thin and piercingly small, and I like that. Yeah. It's just for me. I mean, like I say, the models fantastic. The Dalek ship, you'd look like it was just I just can't believe
you watch Out of Order, Ian. I'm really disappointed in you, really.
Hey, but you know what, Paul? We're talking about them all out of order on this show as well. So.
I know, but you can't watch them out of order. That's different.
Sylvia be a nightmare saying, I love the Half Moon specs, have a nice retro English feel about them. They really, really do. And it's a shame they were forgotten about in the intervening years from his first stories to this. It's a shame because A, it's a prop for Peter to use, and B, it sort of accentuates that fact that yes, he's got an eye problem, and he isn't the young man that people think he is when they first encounter him. He's at this point, I think he's 700 years old or something. The Doctor, 750. He's quite young actually compared to today's version. But anyway, Funky, thank you for your super chat. Who's saying to us, I love Frontios, but I watch it in black and white. Really scary. That's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah. Does it work okay in black and white as well? Because it's very dark.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Those cave scenes and stuff like that. I love Frontios. It's one of my favorite stories ever. Again, it's the horror element to it as well. And the unsettling version. The TARDIS is destroyed in this, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
That as a kid was like, wow. Yeah, this is serious. The TARDIS is gone. That's serious.
But this was the same time. Back, didn't we? This is the same time when J&T was pushing the TARDIS as leaving thing, which was perfectly done because of that. Yes, and there are a few things on as extras on Saturday Superstore and points of view about all this kind of stuff on the box set, which is worth watching just for that nostalgia. But that, you can see how cunning he was doing that, because Frontios really thought, oh no, it's gone. Next week it'll be Scorpio instead, kind of thing.
But you remember it was actually it was actually Colin on his publicity on Saturday Superstore for the Twin Dilemma with Nicola, that actually pointed out the TARDIS is saved and John Nathan Turner's back. It was all a big hypey thing from John to get in the rest.
Got it talked about, didn't it? Like, but like Paul said, it did tie in well with his story, didn't it? But
Well, yeah, because I remember, again, being 14 when this is broadcast, I'm thinking to myself, how has that happened? The TARDIS is indestructible. We've been told for all these years the TARDIS is, and I'm getting wound up, guys, at this point as a teen. Like, that can't happen. That can't happen. How dare they do this? What's going on? I was in the middle of writing the letter that week.
BBC, why oh why oh why? Yeah.
I know. I used to write Dear John. Even back then, I was writing straight to John Nathan Turner.
But I love the scenes when the TARDIS is half cave, half roundel, and bits and pieces of it all coming together. That looks good, doesn't it? Especially for, again, early 80s. Pretty good.
That was when I stopped writing the letter, thinking I've been tricked. Ta-ta TARDIS, says Darren Reeves, which, of course, was the front page of the Star.
Yeah.
It was the Star. Pete Harrington is saying to us, it's so nice to hear us all so happy talking of a series 40 plus years ago. It lifts my heart. It does, doesn't it? 42 years ago. I mean, we're saying at the top of the show, Ian, I don't know if you realize this, but here we are on the 18th of March, 2026. And 42 years ago today, we had just lost the 5th Doctor, who regenerated into the 6th Doctor on the 16th of March, 1984.
Wow.
So we're in limbo at this point. We're all looking forward at this point to the twin dilemma.
Yes.
It's interesting. I put in my line here. I put there should have been another way. I think that should apply for Twin Dilemma as well. I think. To be honest.
Let's come to that. Let's get the goods together. But yes, thank you, Pete, for that. And Woodhouse 122 is saying they use the dispersed console room for the disc menus. Oh, have they?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great about those Blu-ray box sets. I love the fact you get a different console room on each one and the little differences and stuff. It must take a lot of work to do, but I love it.
They've done it for the inside of when you open up the box and you have the TARDIS diorama type thing. They've got that same background for that as well.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So when it comes out in about 4 years and I get it, I'll have a look. Funky is saying
you'll like it when it arrives, yeah.
Tennant's first season tried to copy Frontios with Impossible Planet. Oh.
They also copied the dragging down into the earth thing with Amy and the Silurian thing with Matt Smith, if you remember.
You're right.
Wasn't it good, was it? Yeah.
I think we might have said that when we reviewed that episode. I remember thinking the Hungry Earth was going to be the Tractators.
Tractators back,
but it was.
We need more Bravis.
But that would have tied.
I wish it had been, because the Silurians were crap.
Yes, and they could have done something with the blooming Tractators with the CGI and stuff now, couldn't they? And the money they were getting, they could have made them look. Again, it could have been a version of that sequel that Bidme wanted to do for Colin.
That wrapping round people that they were supposed to have been doing would have been very similar, I suppose, in concept to what those slug things did in Dot and Bubble.
Yes, you can see it. I thought they were very Tractator-like when they appeared, definitely. And you're right.
Well, there wasn't going to be anything totally original, were they? Let's be honest.
But there was the rumor going around when that picture leaked was the Tractators were back. Remember? And I remember going, "Oh no, please, no, don't do that, no, don't."
Oh, jeez.
They would have been called transsexual taters or something. Let's be right.
God. Lex, thank you for your super chat. My favorite season 21 Doctor Who episodes are at number 3, The Awakening, at number 2, Resurrection of the Daleks, and number 1, The Caves of Androzani. Now, you were mentioning the Doctor Who Monthly season poll back then, Graham, and I remember taking ages over a orange squash to decide because of the quality of the story. I knew that the Twin Dilemma wouldn't be there. I knew that Warriors of the Deep wouldn't be up at the top. I knew that The Awakening would be towards the bottom, but I quite like The Awakening. Sure. But I knew it was either going to be between Resurrection of the Daleks or Frontios or the Caves of Androzani for the top 3. And I think I seem to remember I went for Caves of Androzani, Resurrection of the Daleks, and Frontios.
Yeah, hard one.
They were my top 3 for that year, I think. I don't know about you guys.
I think Resurrection would be my top one at that point because the Daleks were in it. But I'm sure all of you, your opinions probably change now. If you did it now, it'd be completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I put the Twin Dilemma at number 1.
Good for you. Yeah. Well, needs more love, doesn't it? Yeah.
I had a friend at school, going back with me and my friend at school, and he loved Planet of Fire. He loved Planet of Fire. He thought it was a brilliant story. I mean,
why was that? Why
It
was
had a
that?
couple of good points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
What do you mean there, Ian, exactly?
Peter Wingard and
Peter Wingard.
and
Barbara
Anthony
Shelley, yeah.
Ainley. Fantastic
Chameleon.
actors.
Wonderful chats, both of them. Yeah.
Daryl Joyce has one of his always wonderful art pieces. He's drawn a picture. It's quite a few years ago. He did a picture of Peri exiting the sea in her bikini, and it was just outrageously, absolutely bloody amazing.
His work is wonderful, though, isn't it? It's absolutely
superb.
I love his work.
Yeah.
Every time I read his book, I find something else that I've not noticed before in the pictures. It's a lovely work. Lovely bit of
If
work.
Daryl's watching this, by the way, email me, please. Yay! Right, listen, we've got Cool and Dry in the chat saying to us, no wonder the fifth Doctor sacrificed himself. Adric's whining, Tegan's complaining, Turlough plotting, and Chameleon malfunctioning, stepping out for cigarettes and never coming back. And Lex, thank you for this super chat. The Caves of Androzani, because of Peter Davison's final appearance, he didn't know he was going to regenerate, and he says that line, I might regenerate, and is this death? Boom, Colin Baker appears.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Peter's final bit then, Caves, before we move on to all the other stories we've got to talk about, because it's a very powerful moment. I love the fact that it's a proper drama, it's a proper thriller, it's a proper Doctor Who story, albeit different, and the regeneration just happens to be tagged on at the end. Although it's set up right at the beginning in episode 1 when the Doctor has to do what the Doctor does and puts his hand in that bloody cotton bud. You know, that's when it starts for him, doesn't it? Because he has to be curious all the time. So he puts his hand in that. Peri falls in it. Yes, we know about the bum shot. That's gone down in Doctor Who history. She bounces off the bloody mattress or whatever it was. But I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember thinking that's the time that was what was going to kill him.
No, me neither. But the build up to that, when he carries her to the TARDIS and he drops it and spills the milk. Oh, that's incredible. Really is.
That's where you get frightened again, isn't it? You go, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And even at that point, I have to say, guys, I still didn't realize he hasn't got enough. That's what's going to kill him. I didn't realize. I knew he was dying at the point, of course, because the build-up, the music, the drama, Graham's direction, Peter's exasperation, and that he's putting forward in this character. Oh my God.
That shot when he's being chased by the gun runners and he falls down the side of the sand dune and stuff. That is brilliant as well. And things start exploding and everything, and he just it's frantic at this point, which is brilliant. The drama's superb, really.
That whole fourth episode is just, you don't have a chance to breathe.
Spine tingling, isn't it?
It really is. It's one of the most action-packed, energetic, most perfectly written episodes of Doctor Who ever. And of course it was Robert Holmes. Of course it was.
Yeah. And Peter really steps up to the mark with the script, doesn't he? Because he realised what Robert's written for him here. And he just goes for it. He absolutely goes for it and just puts his all into it. Amazing stuff. But you're right, that fourth episode, do you remember watching it that night, that Friday night, with a sense of dread? I just remember being really sort of, oh, it's going to come on in a minute. Oh, it's going to come on to it. And I wasn't really looking forward to it, but was looking forward to it as well. It was one of those special moments in Doctor Who history that was never recaptured ever again. Knew it was
I don't know if I'm misremembering this. Did you guys watch afterwards Russell Harty and then Davison and Colin Baker turned up? Yeah. Was it on that same night, straight after? Was it
I think it was straight after on BBC Two.
Blessing
with Russell. Yeah.
I'm not sure it was, because that evening I was out afterwards. I saw the episode and then had to go out, but I saw the Russell Harty thing.
Maybe it was the Saturday night then or something.
Yeah.
Because they talked about
it. Was it a Friday? Was it a Friday?
It was the Friday night that Caves finished, and then Colin was due on Saturday Superstore.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, yeah. It's all a blur to us. You guys in the chat will probably know all the dates for us, but it's all there because it was very busy at this point. I remember being sort of exhausted with the coverage that was going on, because you had Colin and Nicola suddenly springing up everywhere to push the twin dilemma. Breakfast time, I remember getting up at like 5:30 one morning because breakfast time started at 6 o'clock, getting the video ready, getting the audio tapes ready. know.
John say the Twin Dilemma is one of his favourites of all time, and he was really hyping it up, wasn't he, on one of the Sally Superstar things? Or something?
No, that was just John being John, because the Keeper of Traken said, he was on Saturday Superstar, and he said that the Keeper of Traken was his favourite. To a kid's question, which is your
was it?
He said the Keeper of Traken because it looked beautiful, which it does. But then, of course, publicity gets in. I also think the Twin Dilemma looks good because that was the next one coming up.
Yeah.
So it was John being marketing driven. He was ahead of his time in some things.
Yeah, that's
fair play.
Because we also had Blue Peter with Colin. Remember, Colin appeared on Blue Peter with that bloody cat.
With Jack, of
course. The cat's smoking the cat.
It was funny, you can see Colin's holding onto the cat's leg so it can't move.
Yeah, so it can't move.
He was.
And it wasn't like he was calming it down, he was just holding it really tightly,
They commented that it hadn't jumped off his knee because it always did. And that's because he had hold of his bloody leg, so he can't move.
Right, wasn't Colin on Blue Peter on the day of episode 1? I think it was very near to it. I can't remember. And Pete Harrington is saying to us, was Selena or Frank on Breakfast Telly? It was both of them, I think, at some point on the Breakfast TV stuff. I think it was that time where, because did you know, bit of gossip, did you know that Selena Scott and Frank Boff didn't get on?
No, didn't know that. Oh, right.
They did not get on at all. Selena did not like, allegedly, quickly he adds at this particular point, heard on the grapevine, but Selena was not appreciative of Frank Boff.
Well, there you go, eh?
Yeah, well, it was a man of his time.
She lives around here somewhere.
Does she? Well, she tolerates him. God love him. God love her, rather. Yeah.
I'll see if I can get her on.
She won't remember anything.
She can reminisce about saying shit off camera. Remember that?
Yes, remember that one. Yeah. Rory Neal is saying to us, who got up at 6 a.m. to watch Colin on breakfast time? I did. And then I went to school. I was late as well. Darren Reed saying to us, it always makes me laugh. Colin got a call from the master on Saturday, Superstore. Who was that reprobate? That was brilliant. Again, that was timed, wasn't it? Because it was John playing the marketing thing to tell all the kids that were watching on Saturday morning television, on Saturday Superstore, the master is coming back. This was just after Planet of Fire, of course, where the master is.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I was absolutely flabbergasted that he got killed. Spoiler coming up. And I always get that wrong. I always say spoiler at the wrong time. But when he died in Planet of Fire, I was really shocked because I love the Master and love Anthony Ainley, because at that point, I hadn't seen very little of Delgado, maybe when I was very little, but I didn't see much of him at all. And he was really my Master growing up, really, to be honest. And I loved him. Older fans used to hate him because they thought, he's not Delgado. I can see that now, having seen Delgado, but I loved him at the time. I thought he was superb and was really sad that he died.
Yeah, I remember. I thought he'd be back. He won't be gone. Yeah. But here's a question: does anybody back in the day in '84, when Warriors of the Deep started, wonder, when the Five Doctors, where's Chameleon? Where's he gone? There's just no mention of him again. The King's Demons, he joins and he just disappears until Planet of Fire.
Do you know what? I didn't give a toss about.
No,
I remember. Here we go, her viewers. This is little JT, teenage JT. I remember writing the letter to Dear John. Why the hell get rid of K9 when you've brought this piece of crap in?
Yes.
But the fact is that Chameleon was supposed to be in season 21 in The Awakening, and of course the scenes were there. The scenes were done. This is him on the rehearsal in the old rehearsal block at the Acton block,
acting his socks off there, isn't he? Let's face it.
He looks good,
working very hard.
He's still got more presence than Gatwa, hasn't he?
More charisma. Yeah,
he's got better.
Chameleon was supposed to be in The Awakening and didn't. I mean, the whole thing about him being put into The Awakening, of course, because I don't understand. I never understood this. They were filming and putting together the King's Demons. The thing is kept aboard. And he's already been written out on that day of the next series. So why bother?
I was going to say that, Graham. Why bring him back? Just write him out. Because bringing him back in Planet of Fire, I know he's in a tiny scene in Awakening, and that's on the extras as well. But he never appeared in that. So there's a scene with him with Janet Fielding. But in Planet of Fire, it feels really odd that they bring him back to write him out when the crew just said, let's forget about him. It's fine.
And I remember thinking, even as a boy, in the stories between King's Demons and Planet of Fire, no one even mentions him. He's not even mentioned, is he? He's not even like. By the way,
you hear him screaming in Planet of Fire, and the doctor says, "Chameleon," all this go, who? What? Who?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
You know, it's like,
Remember that? I swear
I think Chameleon. I think Chameleon was the equivalent of Barry Letz's Dinosaurs. JNT was sold. JNT was sold that Chameleon could do way more than he could, just like the Dinosaurs were sold that they could do way more than they could, and they took them at their word, and they were a total absolute failure. And they should have just not referred to him again. They should have just left it like an RTD script where there were so many loose ends, and just never went back to them.
Do you know what, though, Ian? I don't know if I've ever told you, but years and years later, when I was, a lot of you who are regular to this channel will know, I knew John sort of towards the end of his life, and he had a lot of regrets about Doctor Who. I don't mind telling you. But one of the things believe it or not, Chameleon came up one night in a conversation, and he wasn't very nice about it, and a lot of F's and. And I said, well, you missed the trick, didn't you? Something along those lines. You missed the trick with it, John. And he said, why? And I said, because if you kept Chameleon in it, you could have had a guest star every story, because the thing could change. You could have had a big guest star for every story. And his eyes lit up, and he suddenly I could see him like, oh my God, why didn't we think of that? You know, because they could have brought in a guest star to be Chameleon in one story, then another story, and he could have had all the bloody names he wanted.
Well, in the clip from Awakening, the deleted scenes, they have the voice of Peter Davison and then the voice of Mark Strickson when he's jumping from different characters. But they easily could have solved that problem just by having a line in King's Demons, we'll return you to Zerafas. That's that sorted. You know? We'll drop you off. That'll be fine. Yeah.
Or they could have just shrunk him with the TCE, like they ended up doing in Planet of Fire, for crying out loud. What a waste of a character. But I will always remember John's face when he looked at what he could have done, and nobody thought about it back there, because he didn't have to bring in Peri. They could have kept Chameleon going with different actresses.
Well, that's it. Gerald Flood played him twice, once in King's Demons and once in Planet of Fire, and they couldn't afford to bring him back to do it all the time. They'd have to pay him more money, wouldn't they, just for a voiceover here and there? So it's a real shame, but I think you're right. That could be a great idea, you know.
Like Ian says, like, it's a very, you know, obviously John was sold this story, and it just didn't bear any fruit, did it? But I remember at the time thinking, no one's even mentioning him. He's just not been forgot about. And he popped back. Then he popped back in Planet of Fire, and he's like the central, not the central character, but he's got a major role in Planet of Fire, isn't he? He's part of the.
He's huge, because it's the Master using him to get back, isn't he? Planet of Fire says Lex for a super chat. The Master was like a scene of TV series of Irwin Allen's The Land of Giants. Yeah, because I mean, again with Planet of Fire, there's that lovely twist that the Master isn't all he seems to be.
In a little box.
He's been a bit daft, hasn't he? He's been a bit. But I remember Paul being excited at the time, because when we last see him in the Five Doctors, Razalon says his crimes or his sins will catch up with him in time, and there he is as a genie master.
I love the fact that the Master, when he was Chameleon, had that fantastic black suit with a black tie. That was very Delgado, which I really loved. It was really nice.
Must have been hot in Lanzarote though. For
God,
let's go to the
thing. Sorry, I think the thing like Paul said, that, you know, Anthony Ainley became your Master because, you know, you don't, and, you know, similar age, and I don't remember really much of Delgado at all either. And in fact, as we've discussed, JT, in the chit chat, you know, my earliest memory is Delgado on the cliff with the Daleks, and after that, nothing. And but I had seen him in the repeat of the Sea Devils, and that was it. So it was very much Pratt and Beavers, and then Anthony Ainley.
Yes.
But when you think about it now, if you'd been watching it and seen all of Delgado, then you saw all of Anthony Ainley, it would be very similar to imagining John Pertwee's changed from being the Doctor, he's regenerated into Tom Baker, but Tom Baker's wearing a velvet jacket and a curly blonde wig. You know, because it's a second incarnation, but very similar in appearance, and it would probably have grated on you. But for us, of course, it was like, he looks just like.
And it was a mate of mine said that. He said that they've just done a kind of a rehash of Delgado. This is an older friend of mine, and he said, no, they're just copying Delgado. That's all they're doing. And I never thought about it before until recently with the John Sim one, that it could look different. I love the fact that Master does have a beard and looks like Delgado. That really works for me. And I always feel I'm that sad fan who thinks the Master should always have a beard. That's the way he should look. But he doesn't have to. You're right, Ian. He should be like the Doctor and be any look at all. You know?
Yeah,
But,
yeah. But back then, I think there was this whole thing of this was a shock. Remember, at the end of the Keeper of Draken, it was a shock.
Oh yeah,
and I think that was done deliberately
well.
to echo that look, you know.
Yeah.
But we are dealing with a totally different Master, and a totally different Master in Planet of Fire, because Anthony is here again giving a different performance.
Yeah.
He's
being played by Chameleon. That's part of the thing, isn't it? That's
it. Yeah, so
to make that difference.
Characters here.
I think the thing is when you're little, when you watch it, you know, as a small boy, and so Anthony Ainley is your Master, but then you go as an adult, and I'm sure we all agree, watching Roger, it's a different level. Delgado is the Master, isn't he? And it always will be.
100%.
You know, and no one comes really. I mean, him and Pertwee together were just wonderful, weren't they? But I do like it when Davison and Ainley try and recreate that in certain scenes.
They're doing it their way. They're doing it their way.
That bit in Planet of Fire when the Master turns up and he goes, "Oh no," you know, that is lovely. And the fact he's been there 5 times or something during Davison's era, where it was, it's fantastic. And that lovely frisson they have is really nice. I just love him. He's really kind of, though, Delgado's very calm, very measured, wonderful performance. But I think Anthony Ainley is a bit unhinged. His Master's a bit crazy, you know? Not quite to the extent of the Joker Masters we get later.
No.
But certainly he's more believable than any of the new ones we've had, that's for sure.
But Anthony's aware, and we have to remember it's set up. We've met the Master in the Deadly Assassin and Keeper of the Tracker at the end of his life. He can't regenerate anymore. He's had a horrific accident, which has sent him stir crazy. This isn't actually regeneration either. He's nicked a body. I always remember when I look at Anthony Ainley's Master, even in Planet of Fire, I remember Tree Mass.
Yeah, of course.
And the horror that Tree Mass faces, because the Master nicks his body. It's not a regeneration.
That line that Pertwee has in the 5 Doctors, another regeneration? Not exactly. I mean, that's like a fantastic moment when he just explains it in one line. You know, it's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your super chat here from Funky. Chameleon had to go to let Frobisher live.
I mean, a kill for Frobisher, that would be good,
Frobisher, one of the best companions we never had, and yet again today could be done. It would be hilarious. It would be very hilarious to have a penguin waddling along with.
Now that'd be a Christmas episode.
Don't give them ideas because they'll ruin Frobisher. Problem with Chameleons, this Legion of James, was he was too ahead of his time. The BBC couldn't and didn't have the money or ability to conceptualize such a character. But nowadays, he'd be a CGI character. And yet robotics is so scary now. Have you seen those things over in bloody... Yeah, have you seen them dancing and stuff like that? Is it
I think, going back to what Ian said, that's what they said to G&T. It's ahead of its time. It'll be fine. Yeah. And he believed them, bless him. When he went out to wherever it was, North London or wherever it was, when he went to look at it, it worked.
It never did since.
No.
Everything always looks good when it's the test drive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's when they hand you the keys afterwards that it doesn't.
Yeah.
But going back to Planet of Fire, it's quite a clever little parable on religion, isn't it? Story.
Yeah.
Who's going to play Logar today and stuff, which I think was quite good. And I did like when people say, I like the way it tied up Turlough's arc a little bit. And I like the Mesos Triangle and Brandon and stuff like that, and Turlough's brother and stuff. It was a little bit of a good closure. And Wingard's always good value, isn't he? He's always quite entertaining.
I want to come to that in a second, but let me just read these out from Funky. The Master in the regeneration sequence of Caves is almost beckoning the Doctor to join him in death, as we believed it to be then. And then Lex is saying to us for a super chat, thanks, Lex. My first experience of regeneration was on the 30th anniversary with Doctor Who in the 90s, and that was Peter's last story. Yeah, you young thing, you. Yeah, it was repeated, which I was.
The BBC Two repeats, yeah.
I was delighted they chose that one for Peter. When you look at it, it's a great choice because it's a regeneration story. It's a cracking story. You see what Doctor Who can be. I just wish they'd looked at something like Caves of Androzani rather than City of Death when they were bringing it back.
Yeah.
Planet of Fire. You mentioned Planet of Fire there, Graham, as well. What a headache Planet of Fire is. Yeah, but there's so much to do, as you say there. The poor writer, and I remember an interview with Peter Grimwade?
Yeah.
It must have been in the monthly, because he wrote Mordred Undead, of course, which introduced Turlough. And he wrote it with the basically the dictates he was given by Eric and John. And he was thinking about all these loose ends and it won't be my problem. It turns out it was, and he was quite peeved about that, because he had to tie up who was the solicitor in London, where was he from? He had to tie up the fact that Turlough was from another planet. He had to come up with the Trion thing. You're talking about the triangle there as well. All this thing about why was Turlough on Earth? Why was he so desperate to get home? It's a headache of a show, but yet somehow Grimwade manages to. Oh, he's got to put Chameleon in it. He's got to put Peri in it. He's got to put the Master in it. Bloody hell.
I think it really pulls off, if you're pardon the expression. He really does. He really kind of gets it all together and gets it ready. It's really good. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, this is what I'm going to say. I mean, Planet of Fire on original broadcast in 1984 for me was just meh. I thought, I
really liked it. I'm with Graham's friend. I liked it.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. I thought it was quite intriguing. I like the Master in it, and I like the scenery. But you're right, it was never going to be a favourite of mine. But as an adult, like you were saying, JT, it had an awful lot to do, didn't it? An awful lot to do. So, but I also think in this season it works well because it's bright. It's obviously the scenery, the overseas location, and coming on the back of Regeneration and Frontios that have been gritty, dark, gloomy, and claustrophobic, it suddenly felt quite expansive, didn't it? Out there in the sunshine.
Yes. The filming locations and the way that it's been shot by Fiona is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. Yeah. And of course, you've got all the guest cast that are really loving it, Ian. The guest cast are really going for it.
I just wish that they'd taken the opportunity to film all of Androzani's exterior shots on that location as well.
Yeah.
Rather than taking arguably the best story in Doctor Who's entire 60-plus year history and filming it in an effing quarry, after you've literally just been to bloody Lanzarote, which was volcanic and everything. I think it would have just been...
good point.
Very good point.
You've only been taking 2 extra cast members with you, with Kralpa and the other guy, to do the machine gun chase and everything. The rest of it would have just been your 2 main leads.
Yeah.
The thing that frustrated me about Planet of Fire was because they used Sarn as Lanzarote, they also used Lanzarote as Lanzarote, and you could tell it was the same place. That was the main problem with that. Yeah. If they'd filmed 2 different locations, it may have been less obvious, but I suppose they had to do that. Really. Yeah, Brighton. Yeah.
Is this? Let's go to the box set about Planet of Fire just briefly as well. There is a special edition already out there for the Planet of Fire. Have they done anything? Have you guys noticed? Is on the box set? Can you have a check? Is that the edition that's now on the new Blu-ray box set, or have they done another version? Because I quite liked that special edition they did all those years ago as an alternative. I will always go to the original episodes because they're my Doctor Who, but I quite liked that special edition on the DVD. I thought it was quite nice looking,
I'm having a look at mine. I'll check the book and see what it says.
Have a special look. Yes, exactly. But there is an awful lot going on in Planet of Fire.
I believe it is the same one as far as I remember from reading before, but I could be wrong. I will check.
Oh, okay.
Carry on. That's me peeling the Velcro off the thing here. So,
Cool and Dry is saying to us, does anyone have any characters from season 21 they'd really like to see made as action figures? Shara's Jack has been.
Yeah.
I'd like
some Tractators might be nice.
Oh, I'd love the Tractators. I'd take them out the box, Ian.
Because we've had the black and the white globe Dalek, haven't we?
We've
had the grey Daleks. Yeah.
Oh, I'd like
some of Lytton and his troopers might be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be good.
America.
No.
Graham, you're pushing it now. You really are. The new version of America. That'd be great.
Nestor on his throne with little arms.
They could do a nice. They could do a nice set of the Malice. Because that is an action figure waiting to happen of some sort, isn't it? It's a set with a Peter Davison figure, because you can just see it. I always was very impressed with how the Malice looked in this shot, on screen, because it's supposed to look stone, and it does. It doesn't do anything. That little one in the TARDIS as well scared the bejesus out of me for a little while. You know, on the pillar in the TARDIS with all those flashing lights on it. Bloody awful thing.
Yeah.
But I think a little action figure based on the Malice from The Awakening with possibly 2 round heads. Maybe.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Talking of The Awakening, I thought any monster that could, like, when I was a little boy, any monster that could get into the TARDIS was always elevated. So obviously Sutek in Pyramids of Mars was like, how did that get in there, that jackal head thingy? And of course the Malice was in there, and you know, that was like, but The Awakening, I was talking about it earlier a little bit, and I remember the 20th anniversary special, and in my mind, reading the preview, this was going to be Davison's Demons. It was going to be as good as the Demons. It was going to be very, you know, I love
they did pick it up a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, and the novel of the Demons was one of my favourite books. Like, and I had this, you know, I love the Demons now, but I mean, back in the day, I hadn't seen it back in 1984. It's just a novel. So I was so excited to see The Awakening, and I like it. I definitely like it, but it's a little bit undercooked with its time, isn't it? It's a short one, but I do quite like it, you know.
I've found here on the disc, there's a second Planet of Fire disc, which has the special edition, which I believe is from the DVD version, the one you like. Yeah.
Some of them, some of the guys in the chat are also telling us, there's only.
Yeah, I was taking too long. I saw that.
Yeah. Monkey is saying to us, re-character options figures. The Merca could be done like the K1 robot. Collect the figures for season 21 to build it. I don't know if they would sustain that much interest in that these days, to be honest, because where would they tie it onto? I think it would be one of those things, Funky, where it would be one of those character options exclusive to the website. And you open the box and there's some sort of diorama with the action figures in front. Do you know what I mean? But it could be good with light up green things. I don't know, but I definitely agree with Ian. Yeah, the Tractators, a Tractator set, that would be lovely. Not with the Tegan model, though. I'd like a different Tegan model. I wasn't impressed with that one. Did the Malice cling to the TARDIS roof for years as well, says Darren Reed?
You got very proud of that roof, didn't it?
Yeah, it probably did, didn't it? Don't give them ideas. I've told you before. Because he'll do it. You know he'll do it. Radium. Hello, Radium. It's good to see you. I think I read that the Chameleon build operator died and then no one knew how to operate it, so it had to go. That rings a vague bell with me.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think.
And no one could understand the operating manual. That was the problem, I think.
Yeah. A bit like the
TARDIS. It ran off a BBC Micro, didn't it?
I think it did, yes.
Probably,
I think it did. I mean, that was the computer standard at the time, the BBC Micro 16 or 32K.
Yeah.
32K. That was seen as big at the time. It's like, oh my life.
It's happy days though, Ian, eh?
Well, I suppose it's just like, oh my God, you've got a 32K one. It's just like, my word, you know, dealing at work with stuff in petabytes now. And that was like 32K. Oh my life.
Petabyte? What the hell's a petabyte?
Well, depending on how you
it's
count
when your dog bites you. That's what it's.
It's either 1,000 or 1,024 terabytes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Clever dick, isn't it?
But there are, because it's computer stuff, there are terabytes and tebibytes, petabytes and pebibytes, depending on whether you go with the thousands or the 1024s. It's all ridiculously and unnecessarily complex.
If we talk about football, I think I understand that. Yeah.
I wouldn't understand that either. I'm just smiling.
No, I don't understand it either.
Anyway, that messed up.
Yeah.
What would the Queen Mother do? Well, I'll just smile gently. We shall have coffee by tea time. Java Bean, good to see you. How are you, Michael? Morning, all, because it's down there in Australia. I'm furious about the AI situation. It is now no longer restoration. The line has been crossed, and I'll stick to the DVDs. Now, okay, we'll get into that because Michael's mentioned it there, but we do have. Thank you to everybody that got in touch with me saying about the bits. Now, we knew from headlines on our Sunday show that there had been the war between the land and the sea inserted into Warriors of the Deep, but I'm happy to say that it's come back 50-50 because a lot of you said it's so fleeting you don't notice it because a lot of you were worried about it. And Paul, you noticed that as well, didn't you? You didn't really get it.
Well, no, but certainly not so much on this set because I've not got to Limit to spot what's on that one. I didn't find any other stories that I've watched so far having any glaringly obvious AI on it. But when I watched season 13, there was a couple of bits on that I noticed, but I didn't think it was that bad even on that. So I'm 50-50. The audience, it doesn't bother me. It's fleeting enough to cope with it. I think it's okay, really. But Yeah.
Sean Brady has said that the AI has removed Mr. Range's glasses from Frontios.
Now, I never noticed that. I have watched Frontios, and I watched it with the special effects, the new special effects on it. Really enjoyed it, but I never noticed that at all. I need to look back and see.
I've had Chiggy118, hello to you. I didn't think it possible, but Warriors of the Deep has been transformed into a classic. The script was never the issue, the production was. But this new version is incredible. So many subtle new effects that enhance it. Even the teeny clip from the fishy thing doesn't spoil it, as it's so fleeting. And the new Merca is fantastic, as is Ingrid Pitt's new, more satisfactory demise. Thank you for that one, Chiggy. Good to hear from you. And Davey Boy, who's in the chat with us, was saying to me, hopefully you'll discuss the extras, and while I get some aren't particularly bothered about them, I like them. You'll find something interesting on the sofa, and the trip they do I actually found fun. It's the kind of travel show I like watching. Actors who are friends with wonderful chemistry, going places filled with banter and fun. Also, Toby Hadoke, is that his name? Hadoke makes an appearance on the trip. So thank you for that as well, Davey Boy. I'll just read those bits out now while I remember. I did, however, have Woodhouse 122, Romulus and Remus action figures coming soon.
Yeah, Mr. Trick there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
Yeah. They only have to produce one of them, don't they?
One
That's
of them,
thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's
different coloured outfits.
Mr. Twick. Not Trick.
Twick, of course. Yeah.
Let's have a look at this then, because I mean, this is one of the things. The AI thing is not going to go away now. Now, I personally have this feeling, everybody, this is not the fault of the Doctor Who team. I think this is the fault of the BBC studios themselves, who are actually going for this, because apparently AI. So I see online, so I hear on the grapevine, is going to be now introduced into other titles in the BBC Blu-ray ranges. So it's obviously that, once again, Doctor Who has been some sort of experiment for them. And also we have to remember that AI is cheaper than some of the other stuff that they're doing. So that's possibly why they're doing it. But thank you to everybody that's been getting in touch. So we do have a couple of things here. This one you would have seen online, I'm sure, from the transmitted version in 1984 to the collection set of 2025 using the AI rather. There it is there. I mean, the AI makes it look a little bit sort of, for me, brighter, and it's a bit sort of cleaner. And we did have some people getting in touch with us, guys, saying that the resurrection of the Daleks doesn't look as gritty as it should do because of it.
Well, I thought the film sequences looked much sharper and cleaner, and maybe that's what I mean by that. I don't know.
I think that's probably what it is. Yeah,
but I don't know. Have they done it on all the episodes, or is it just a couple of them?
I have no idea. I've been told about this particular one from the Twin Dilemma, which you've probably all seen today, because this is one that has not gone down well with the fandom.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying he looks like he's got a black eye. Did Peri punch him or something? What happened?
Yeah. I mean, that is a mistake that should not be allowed to happen. Poor Colin. I mean, this is, I mean, it's great that, I'm thinking here, I know what Java been saying there as well. As I was saying on Sunday, and I got quite passionate about it, we don't want this stuff when it comes to our original episodes. Give us the original episodes. Thank God I've still got my DVD collection.
I can't think why they would want to interfere with a scene like that. I'm all for a special edition that has, if there's a gun battle or whatever, putting in some laser bolts and things like that, making it a little bit more jazzy. I'm all for that. I'm all for tidying up spaceships, removing the strings and the wobbliness and everything else like that. But things like that are completely unnecessary. Why alter a scene to the point where you actually damage it? It's not. There's just no call for it. Nobody wants it. And do they really finish that at the end of the day and commit it to the final print for production and go away feeling satisfied with what they've done? Because I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to move past it. I'd always see it,
Yeah.
And I would know that the Doctor Who fans would see it as well, because it's us, isn't it? We pick up.
Well, we watched it so many times. You're familiar with what happens in it. And I'm surprised I wasn't more aware of it personally, because I've watched it so many times. I can do the lines, you know what I mean? That's what it's like. But I never really noticed. It didn't really stand out to me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
It probably will now that we've pointed it out. When you go back,
Yeah, definitely. When I get to Twin Dilemma, I'll be shouting at it. I'll be shaking my fist and shouting at the screen. Yeah.
We've got Darren Reed saying to us here about it. It's the new special edition of Warriors of the Deep. It's not the AI on this particular point, of course. It's the CGI with new Merca rules. Yeah. Okay, so this is very, very impressive because this is the new Merca from the new special edition, and it does look great. We showed it on one of our previous shows as well. The actual, it's a puppet. It does look very good, and it does remind me of the thing I saw in the Blackpool exhibition all those years ago. So, I mean, you were impressed by this, Paul, weren't you? You liked it.
Yeah, I did like it, but it does remind me, unfortunately, of the Chewits monster from that advert. But I do like it. I don't want to diss the work they've done on it. I do like it, but it does make me laugh occasionally.
Now, Paul says this. It looks like the Chewits monster. Let's have a look at this because there it is. Now, Paul, for those of you outside the UK, Chewits is a brand of sweeties that's been going for God knows how many years, about 70, 75 years, something like that. And they are chewy, so they're called Chewits. It's had different reiterations of its main character, but the most famous one, which Paul thinks the Merca now looks like, is this one.
I rest my case. I rest my case. I'm glad you found that for reference. That's brilliant. Thank you.
That's spot on.
When we were all kids back in the 70s and 80s, the Chewits monster was a lovable monster, and you actually look forward to the advert coming on, wouldn't you? To say the Chewits, because there he was, and he was this. He was called Chewie well before Chewbacca. Yeah, and he was called Chewie the monster. And he was very famous. So there he is. There's Chewie the Chewits monster. Let's have a look again at the Merca in the new version of Warriors of the Deep. And you know, guys, I do think
the same.
There is something missing, though, isn't there? So I think.
Well, I'm glad he's got more work since the Chewits advert. That's good to know. Yeah.
Well, I do think there's something missing.
Fantastic, brilliant. Yeah,
Paul will now do the Chewits jingle for us.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
I can't remember. I remember one of the lines the guy said in like American accent. I remember vaguely that. But I remember that photograph you added the Chewits to it. I do remember him chewing the Chewits like that. Yeah. It was fantastic. Lovely.
How about for Mash Get Smash? Or are we drifting off on one? Are we?
We are drifting off a bit there. Yeah. Julianne's good to see you, darling, saying I'm definitely keeping my DVDs. I would say that if you've got your VHS, if you've got your DVDs, you've got to keep them. You've got to retain them because we've got 2 color versions of the season box sets coming through. The AI looks like it's going to be pushed continually into this, and if you're a purist, keep your DVDs as well and add to it with the box sets as well. Just for the extras are fantastic on this as well, as people have been saying. So keep it going. What else we got here as well? Darren Reed is saying Chewits, and who wants them now? Who can taste them in the mouth now? Actually.
The black currant flavour ones, particularly,
They were lovely. Steve Braddock was saying, "You got to chew." That was one of the taglines, wasn't it?
Wasn't that fruit pastels? Wasn't that? I don't know. Maybe I'm sure.
Yeah, there was a chewing thing. You were supposed to put it in your mouth.
You're not allowed to chew.
Oh yeah,
not to chew fruit pastels. Yeah, that was about 400 years ago, though. I think. So.
I just want to point this out from Sean Cryer. Thank you, Sean, for your chat here. Too many inclusions from New Who in the original Who. Various dickheads expressing opinions that hold no interest for me. Too many references to the newer that have no place in classic Who. Maybe it's just me, but it annoys me. It's not just you. I'm on the same page as you. I have a problem watching those behind the scenes where you've got Pete McTeague, whoever you want to say, and that writer Joy Wilkinson, I think her name is. I can't watch that one because I'm not interested in what they've got to say, because my Doctor Who is different to the new Doctor Who. So you're not alone, mate. Just
talking of Pete McTeague, whatever his name is, McTeague, whatever. They put a thing on YouTube the day it came out of a behind the scenes of the making of the trailer. That annoys me. That's not on the box set because it should have been that. Because
so that's not there.
It's not on the box set. No.
How ridiculous!
It's like, why is not on there? Because that's really interesting. As part of the set. But
I would assume it would have been actually, Paul, because I've actually got it written down here to ask you about it because I haven't watched it yet. How that's where's that going to appear then? Because that will come out.
God knows. Yeah.
I don't know.
Bizarrely, they've got on the box set. They have the Tales from the TARDIS version of Earthshock on there.
Of course they do.
They have to, don't they? Because they did that with the Series 13 one, apparently, didn't they? With the Pyramids of Mars thing with Gatwa.
Yeah.
This is what I was saying on Sunday. I don't want to bring the tone of the show down, guys, but in my firm opinion, the 2 different shows And the audience is different for these box sets. You know, the audience for this is us. It's our age group. It's the classic Who's. It's the older guys as well. No disrespect to Hartnell's Ghost, but this is his Doctor Who as well.
Yeah.
You know, the original one between, 63 and 89, where it was Doctors 1 to 7. It was the same character. Like them all, it was the same guy. Yeah. He's not anymore. Let's face it. We shouldn't have to endure all the news. It's just one of those little niggles, because they're not going to let that go. They're going to want to make sure. Oh no, it's the same as when Eccleston turns up, and for me now, it's not. Not.
I don't see it. No.
Well, looking, Graham, at what's been said over the last couple of days, it's very, very mixed. There's a lot of people appreciative, but I would say slightly more going, "Oh, do we have to have this?" You know, I don't know. And then there's the silent majority as well in this as well.
As you were saying, the extras are very good on it. There's some really good stuff. Behind the sofas are really good. Although I'm finding Sophie Aldred and Matthew Waterhouse together a little bit irritating. And I think Wendy Padbury does as well. You'll notice when she's on it. But
who again? Sorry, I missed that. Who together?
So we've got Matthew Waterhouse and Sophie Aldred and Wendy Padbury together, and both Matthew Waterhouse and Wendy Padbury, Matthew Waterhouse and Sophie Aldred bounce off each other, but they're a bit annoying. Whereas I find the other panels, you got Colin, Nicola, and Bonnie, and you've got Peter, Sarah, and Janet, plus a guest of each story. And when when you get to Twin Dilemma, you've got the twins on with Colin and Nicola, which is lovely.
That's nice.
So that's a nice. It's a shame, and obviously they probably could have done this sooner. But a lot of the people who made previous stories are no longer with us, sadly. And I think because of that, Planet Fire just has, I think, just the regulars really on that effectively, because there's not. I think everyone's dead from that particular show, unfortunately.
Even what's his name that was in Howard's Way, the young fella.
Yeah, I think he may. I don't know if he's dead or he's just maybe wasn't available, but I think he may have passed away. I think possibly. I don't know for definite. Yeah.
Well, that's sad. One thing we do want to point out as well, because a couple of you did get in touch with me about these special editions and stuff. There was a lot of praise from Monday onwards, of course, for one particular part of Resurrection of the Daleks that has been restored and done properly. Leela is now back in, because of course that was an oversight which John Nathan Turner couldn't forgive himself for ever, because Leela was not there. And now she's back in the Daleks, the scene where the Daleks are draining the Doctor's memories. So she's back in there. So that's great. That's one thing that should have been.
And it's done really, really well as well. It's very subtly done. It's perfectly done. Yeah.
Do you remember that rumor that came out years ago? I actually personally believe it was John that started the rumor, Nathan Turner, that the reason Leela wasn't in there originally is because the Doctor was extracting her from his mind, so that when his duplicate turns up on Gallifrey, Leela will instinctively know there's something wrong. I always quite liked that.
That's a nice idea. Yeah. I hope Louise Jameson gets a couple of quid for that as well, though.
I'm sure. That's the problem with flashbacks, isn't it? You have to clear it. And give them money, and all of them were in that. I
remember noticing it at the time that she wasn't on it. Though I remember as a keen fanboy, and you're thinking, "Where's Leela?" It was all done in chronological order, wasn't it? Going backwards, and Leela. What's under Leela?
I love the way that rumor came out, though, and that's the reason why. And I thought, there's a story there, isn't there? They're going to come back
Ian,
to
the Doctor didn't remember him out of order, did he? No, he didn't. No.
Oh, very good, very good. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, thanks.
It's nice to get some of the good stuff that was coming out on this. So it's very, very, very mixed. But it was nice to hear, after what we were saying on Sunday's headlines, that the Warriors of the Deep has come off quite well. People seem to have enjoyed Warriors of the Deep, which is lovely. And although some people have been taken out of the story, others have just blinked and they've missed it. So it's one of those things, really, isn't it?
I think it's livable, to be honest. Let's see how the AI works out once I watch more of it. And I'll get back to you on that, but it's bearable, I think.
It's just because you know it's there, though. It doesn't matter if it's a second or whatever. To me, it's the fact that you know it's there. You know, it's like if
and that they're doing it.
If somebody comes around to your house and they shit on your carpet, you clean it up and you can't tell, but you know it was there. You know, you can never quite move on from it. Really, it's like that.
You chase some of your friends, Ian. That's a terrible thing to do in someone's house.
I don't know why I immediately went to that. I'm really sorry, but I mean, it's just, it's just, you know, it's there, and it does just spoil it. They had to do it, And they didn't need to. The monitor scene with the other two bits from Silurians and Sea Devils, that wasn't in the original. It didn't need to, not like Regeneration, which had the flashbacks. It wasn't there in the original. They didn't need to do it. And I think they did it simply because they could just put that little bit in at the end. And
it does what it says in the tin. It's called a special edition, which you can forget that. Fine. I love the new version of Day of the Daleks they did, but that's not the original. I'll maybe watch that now and again, but every time I'll default back to Day of the Daleks original version. Although the special edition on that's quite nice, but I don't watch it very often. I mainly watch the original. So you've got that as an extra thing to watch if you want to. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Stick with the original. You know
exactly. Just to remind you all, everybody, if you're enjoying this particular show, our tribute to season 21 will continue next week when we look at The Awakening. Yes. So we're going to be celebrating that. So come and join us for our review of The Awakening. More Malice talk in depth next week. 2 episodes, everybody, as well. Just 2 episodes. So if you've got your box sets, if you've got your VHS, you've got your DVD, get them out, and don't forget to come back and join us next week. Also, don't forget this particular point that tomorrow we start our Sarah Jane Adventures series with Invasion of the Bane. So we'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We've got to talk about the twin dilemma, haven't we? Because well, yeah, I mean the twin dilemma. I mean, I argue now as fans. Doctor Who fans will know, I would argue this now. I will watch the Twin Dilemma any day now over anything that the multi-million-dollar version with Disney Plus by RTD2 has produced. I would be very happy right now if somebody said, "Oh, well, let's put on the Twin Dilemma." I will do it.
It gets a lot of bad press, doesn't it? But if you look at it in one way, the first episode is a very bold and brave way of introducing the character, of showing that, you know, maybe not the most successful, and the whole story of making Colin's character erratic, unlikable, but it's brave. It's got, I mean, it's a bog standard story. No one's ever going to pretend it's one of the better ones, but it's probably not as bad. I think it suffers from coming straight after Androzani, obviously. And the last story of the season, isn't it? That's it. And then you've got the whole year before we see Attack of the Cybermen. It's bang average, but there's worse. There's much worse in the more recent era, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. You know, I would happily sit through the Twin Dilemma, which is not one of my favorites at all. I didn't like it at the time. I've only watched it, I think, in my entire life, guys, twice.
I wish Attack of the Cybermen was his first story. That would have been a better entrance from with the Cybermen, make it a bit more cooler.
I have to say that the ratings for it were on a par with the rest of the season, with episode 1 getting 7.6, episode 2 7.4, episode 3 7.0, and part 4 6.3. With appreciations, do you remember those? Of part 1 61, 66 for part 2, 59 for part 3, and 67 for part 4. But the whole thing about this is, for me, the best thing about the Twin Dilemma is Colin.
Yeah,
Colin's good.
Yeah.
You know, he loves it. This is his dream role. He loves it, and you can tell.
Is it Maurice Denham, the chappie Asmal?
Yeah.
He's quite good, isn't he? I haven't watched it for a while, but I mean, there's nothing particularly else that really sells it, is there? Really, it's bang average. So they're the best.
They had a strike, didn't they, when they were filming this? So they actually had extended rehearsals, so they got to know each other quite well. Which, I mean, the cast generally seems to work quite well if you completely eradicate any memory of the twins. But I do seem to remember the model of the space freighter when it was landing looked really, really good. It's a really good effect.
I can't remember it because I've only watched it.
They also have on the Blu-ray set, they've got a fantastic making of documentary, which is really good. I've watched that. Yeah,
I mean, you know, when it eventually comes out on standard, and when I eventually get to see it, I will watch it again, obviously as part of the whole thing. But I've watched it once in 1984 and once when the VHS came out. I don't remember watching the DVD. I think it might still be in the wrapper because I was that unimpressed with the film. You know, but I mean, that was the thing. We come off what the backers, as I said at the top of the show, season 21 is a favorite season of mine. I love it. And then I get to the Twin Dilemma, and I don't know why. It's nothing to do with Colin, because I think Colin is great. He takes it forward. It's very. It looks okay, but it's Colin that makes it for me. And I don't know the rest of it. The story just doesn't work properly for me.
Yeah.
It's not very memorable, is it? The actual storyline. You know, I'm trying to actually remember what happens and what Mestor's plan is. And it doesn't stick in the memory particularly well.
To repopulate the universe with these eggs, which sounds a bit bizarre, but
cause the planet to explode and spread them out.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, it's quite dull. And if you're the fella if you're the kid that won the egg on Blue Peter, do get in touch with us. whosviews1@gmail.com.
Has it hatched yet?
And that extra's on the Blu-ray set as well. Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Was it Janet Ellis, wasn't it? It was Janet Ellis.
Yeah, and you see all the signatures on it from the entire cast, so everyone signed it. Brilliant.
Yeah. Woodhouse 122 is saying having the Doctor attempt to strangle Peri was a terrible idea. Yeah, I mean,
it was a bit too much.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's got a black eye in the
AI version.
Again,
hindsight. That was one of the regrets John had, and he had many when it came to Doctor. And one of them was getting that.
Again, contradicting myself a little bit, but I suppose the way he treats Peri all through this story is not nice, is it? It is pretty. It's mean-spirited.
They really pushed too much this whole thing about a regeneration trauma. I mean, they did it in Castrovalva in a nicer way.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have done it in this one. I think they should have just had the Sixth Doctor. Here I am. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand all this. I think it's been overused now, this whole regeneration trauma thing, settling into a new body. I mean, it wasn't quite like that with Robot, was it, with Tom? Do you know what I mean? It wasn't quite like that with Spearhead with John. I think they should play it down a bit now and just say, okay, I'm settling in. I have a few scenes of erratic behavior, but here I am.
Yeah,
it was more or less correct within the 11th hour, I think, where they didn't really go for all that erratic nonsense.
Yeah.
They need to learn from that, because really that's what they did even in Power of the Daleks. They get straight on with it. Don't mess about. Just get on with the story, you know.
The very first one, Pat doesn't hang around, does he? He's the Doctor, and it moves on quickly into the story. You don't really want 3 or 4 episodes of erratic behaviour, and you know, I thought it worked well in Castrovalva, but once is enough, isn't it? You don't do it 3 years later again with Colin.
It worked well with Castrovalva because you're coming off the 7 years of Tom.
Yeah.
So there was a sort of narrative that the public, not we, could get there to be able to say, oh, he's got to settle into a completely new body. But this time around, I don't think it was. I agree. The whole thing with the costume thing as well, with anyway, it is what
Another
it is.
costume's iconic now. I couldn't see him doing anything else. I can't see him being in this black leather jacket they wanted to have. I can't see that at all. But
the black suit and tie. Lex is saying for a super chat here. That scene with Colin Baker is very dark with Peri. It really is, and perhaps it's too dark for the character to go down that route. I find it cringy, Clex. When I remember, I can remember it now. I found it cringy in '84, and when I watched the VHS version, I didn't like it at all. I just thought it's so out of character, even in a regeneration.
And when they repeated it a bit in Mind Warp as well, in Trial of the Time Lord, when he was nasty to her, then they shouldn't have done that, because they just started to get much better as characters by then. It's like, why are you doing it again?
Colin was written in a funny kind of way, wasn't he? I'm with you on that, Paul. I thought that at the time. They shouldn't have gone down that road. It's just trying to get to know the character, and you're making him bad again. You don't need that.
Mark A. Wright is saying to us, the Twin Dilemma made me excited to see the next full season. At the time, I loved being able to experience the new Doctor straight away. It was so fresh, and it was so... I do understand what you're saying there, Mark. I got it. We didn't have to wait God knows how many months to see the new Doctor. It was nice to have him there because we were quite excited. And it seemed to work for the public, because suddenly Colin Baker was the Doctor. Peter who? He was everywhere. It's like I'm saying, he was on every chat show going, every kids show going. He was everywhere, and he was doing it for the love of it. He was passionate about it again. I remember at this point, Mark, as well, I remember being slightly relaxed because he'd said, I'm going to do this for 7 years.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Famous last words.
I know, bless him. But it showed his passion. We all got it at the time. Here's an actor that wants to be the Doctor, and he's going to do it forever. And and it was exciting to welcome him back on the 5th of January, 1985. You know,
I wish they had just ended it on Case of Androzani and made that the last story, and then he came back for Attack. I think he may be received better if they had done that, I think. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And I remember thinking, you know, when he disparages his previous incarnation with a sort of feckless charm. And I remember thinking that, but then I kind of reconciled. I thought, well, it's not unlike the second and third Doctor bickering in the Three Doctors.
Yeah.
But he just seemed quite mean-spirited towards Davison's incarnation. You know, the way it was written.
But the fact is, Graham, again, it's actually written into the stories, if you like, because Davison's Doctor is a bit of a, I mean, he must have been driving himself insane, because he was always very, especially with Tegan, his patience, he was never getting angry, he was spreading it all back. But here's the Doctor that was letting it all go now, and if you crossed him, you knew about it.
Yeah,
even in
it could have been worse though if it was Tom Regeneration. He was said he was like a wet vet or something like that. You know?
Yeah, it was actually true in a sense, wasn't it? Because even in Twin Dilemma, when faced with the gastropods, here's the Doctor going, Master, he's going for it. It's really OTD.
Another bit I didn't like, though, again, underplaying the Doctor, was it episode 3 when he's in the tunnels and he says, he hides behind Peri and says, it wasn't me, it was her that made me do it, and all that. And I'm thinking,
This is again, it was stuff the way it was listening. We now know, looking at it, it's regeneration trauma. I remember as a 14-year-old in '84 thinking about this Who viewers going, this regeneration is not going well at all, and I'm bored with it already. But then the other part of me is thinking, what if this is the new Doctor? What if he is a colourful clown who's very cowardly and going to hide behind Peri all the time? And we have to remember as well that we don't know Peri at this point, and she's coming across to me at the time as very annoying, quite frankly.
Well, I had friends who stopped watching after Colin arrived, and they hated him and didn't come back.
It didn't work, did it? There's proof it didn't really work, isn't it?
They were put off. It's a shame, that really, isn't it? Again, it was another regret that Nathan Turner had years later, I have to say. Quality control, poor Colin. Ugh, says the Jason Parker. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Curious case, nice to see you. The dark strangling scene, although inappropriate, did show what a great actor Colin is. It did give us a fright. Yeah. And obviously he's looking after Nicola in that scene, because he's not dragging her. She's putting herself in his arms, basically, and she's falling around the set. But it looks like the Doctor's dragging her to get her to the point where they need to be for their cue. I don't know. I just find it cringy, guys.
And even taking out the Doctor being the first regeneration story, I think we really need another Time Lord who was on,
of course.
We've seen this before, we've done this before. It wasn't fresh and exciting. If you compare it to Spearhead or Power of the Daleks, even Robot, it don't come anywhere near, does it really? Although I was speaking up earlier, maybe I'm talking it down now a bit.
Hardnuts Ghost is saying, hi JT, hello. I will defend Colin's intro. What a fantastic Regeneration Gone Wrong debut from Colin. I'd agree with that. I think Colin's brilliant. But he was very aware of Caves of Androzani, because he says Caves of Androzani is his, in a sense, doesn't he? He's always said it's mine, in a sense, because I come in at the end. So he
gets quite emotional behind the sofa, so look out for that. He's quite moved by that.
Good. Well,
so that's lovely. That's really nice.
Funky is saying to us as well, there is a comment in it that basically said that Tom's Doctor was an alcoholic. I didn't agree with that at all. That's one of those
getting drunk by 20 giants or something.
By the fountains or whatever it was.
That's it.
I don't know. I was uncomfortable with that in '84. Not as comfortable as I get in today, when the Doctor could snog anything going, but I was a little
that's not the Doctor.
Yeah, and that's the fan I was back then as well. I was trying to work, which Doctor is this exactly? Oh my God, it's Tom's. Oh, what's going on? No, he wouldn't have done that. Although John and Tom did have the odd, their Doctors did have the odd tipple, didn't they? The Doctor's time on Earth.
Soward in the novelization, though, he had the twins' father supposedly getting in some situation with somebody else's husband, and they ended up getting drunk in that. So I think it was a bit of a theme, not in a sexual situation. I think it was implied that it was a misunderstanding, and he turned up at his door, and they ended up getting drunk on Voxnick or whatever it was.
That's right.
I reread this recently, and it was only slightly better than that, which is probably the worst book of all time. It weren't great. I don't know.
The thing is, as well, I think you're right, Ian, because Slipback, also by Eric Saywood, the Doctor gets absolutely legless in that, and so
I've got that already.
Oh, it's awful. It's all,
really? I've got that. I'm ready.
It's awful. It's awful on the radio, and it's awful as a book. But that's that's coming later on. That's for another show. We've already done a review of Slipback on our Sounds of Music playlist.
Yeah.
We're also going to be looking at it when eventually we do our season 22 overview. Colin wanted a Christopher Eccleston type costume, says Lex, for a super chat. He did. He absolutely did. And it's a shame he never got it. Cool and Dry is saying...
sorry, one.
Yeah.
We could also say that the Doctor, according to Verity Lambert, the Doctor had a gambling problem because of what he did with Kublai Khan. You know?
True, yeah. Yeah.
Drink, gambling, what next?
It's not looking good.
Well, Hartnell just like the odd glass of milk. I mean, the first Doctor, not Hartnell, liked a bit of milk.
Yeah.
Well, you got Spectrox as well, so drugs. You've thrown it all in, haven't
you?
Oh,
goodness me. This show was so controversial and we didn't know it. Cool and Dry says it's a shame how Colin and Capaldi both loved the part and wanted the part desperately and didn't get treated very well by the BBC and forced out before they wanted. Well, allegedly at that particular point in Peter's case. But yes, isn't it strange how things come around all the time? We've been saying that a lot on our show over the last year. And Steve Braddock is saying season 21 should have ended with the Caves of Androzani and had Colin's first story fighting the Cybermen. I would have rather have seen, in hindsight again, I was very excited at the time that Colin's there at the end of season 21, but had they done it the original, traditional way, I think we could have had another 4-part Peter Davison story there. We could have gone in the Caves of Androzani, and what an end to season 21 the Caves of Androzani would have been. You mentioned them there then. Let's have a look at this because, of course, we did, back in the day, get the only way that we knew how to relive the Doctor Who adventures was with the Target novelizations, and these are the covers for both the original and the blue spines there, as you can see. So Andrew Skilleter was kept very busy for the original novels, of course. I don't think he did I think it was Colin, I don't know. Oh, no, it was Alistair Pearson that did the blue spine ones, wasn't it? I think definitely for Warriors of the Deep. I'm sure that's Alistair.
I have so much nostalgia for this set of novels. I remember these were the first ones I got in hardback, and I really wanted them, and I got them for Christmas that year. Apart from Twin Dilemma, which I got later on, and they're still here now, a bit tacky, mind. But there was some I really wanted, and they were just so much they were so expensive for kids, weren't they? Back in the day, they were like they came out about 3 months in advance, didn't they? It was prior to the paperbacks. And I thought the Frontios novel was a good read. That's a good read. I thought it expands on the story quite a lot.
I mean, for me, Warriors of the Deep and Caves of Androzani are just run-of-the-mill. I mean, it's obvious that Terence prefers Caves of Androzani to write because it's Bob's script, and he really goes for it, and he does embellish it. We had to wait decades, of course, for Resurrection of the Daleks to turn up because Eric wasn't going to write for the series. I can't get through it. I have to say I didn't get through it, and I didn't get through Slipback either. I think it's it just didn't interest me. I thought it was too much. He makes it too much not Doctor Who when he writes his novels.
It's very laborious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I didn't like it. Of course, all these years later, we did get them read, and these are the versions that came out onto CD. They are now on download, everybody. So there we go. And on top of that, we had the original VHS releases of season 21 with those
covers. Lovely covers.
Yeah.
Stunning cover. Apart from Planet of Fire, when they were after 96 into the whole sort of.
And Frontios Awakening was a twin box set, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was. We got the twin box. You got 2 VHS cassettes in that box, if you remember, boys and girls. So that was season 21. And then eventually we got the DVDs. And how many copies of Resurrection of the Daleks and the Caves of Androzani have you got? Because they came out twice. The special editions were there. And that.
Do you remember that the original one came with a bizarrely a rubber sleeve? It was all really odd.
It did.
I've still got it upstairs. Yeah, still got that. I don't know what that was about at all. I bet you that was made for something else, and we thought we'll just put a Doctor
Who for another avenue of fandom. Yes.
Another genre.
Yeah, I'm still wearing mine. Yeah.
Now you might expected that in the Caves of Androzani one, but not Resurrection, you know.
So you've got the DVDs there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and of course, this very week it has now been added to with the Blu-ray box set for season 21, which is available right now from all the regular stockists. And there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, everybody. thank you so much. I've had a great chat tonight. I've really enjoyed the show. Our season 21 overview. I hope you guys have as well. It's been really good, really good to relive the memories. And thanks to everybody in the chat, and for those of you that got in touch with us via our email and via the channel itself and the Facebook and wherever it was, you're just saying your updates and your reviews on that. Keep them coming in. Put them in the comments down below. But great show, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it in the chat. Let's have a look and see where you were. Woodhouse122 is saying, I chucked that rubber sleeve out as it went moldy. Oh, did it? I better go have a look.
Right, okay.
Funky is saying, I have a third copy of Resurrection. That was the DVD collection version. There was a Davros set for the VHS as well.
Of course,
remember?
Yeah.
For Resurrection. Steve Braddock is saying it was gorgeous artwork throughout the new box set. Yeah, there's so many more things they can do now, wasn't there? Ah, yes, says Pete Harrington, the black rubber cover. It was also on Dalek Invasion. Was it?
Was it? Right.
I don't recall
Dalek Invasion.
Yeah, I don't
recall a cover on that. No.
Was it from a particular shop? Because sometimes some particular shops did do various gimmicks, didn't they? I don't know. Jess Corbin saying to us, they have to fit to screen, and that means they can shrink to fit. Changing colors can also make things more pastel. And Alphabet Cat saying, I did get Resurrection of the Daleks back in 1994 on the VHS, but I did get Androzani, the original version, on DVD. Yeah, absolutely. Pete Harrington also saying gorgeous art. Yeah, from the books and the VHSs, they were. That's when they relied on proper artists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hartnell's Ghost is saying to Paul, I experienced the opposite with male friends, began watching Doctor Who because of Nicola, also known as Peri. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on that, yeah.
Yeah, poor Nicola. She's had to live with that forever. God love her. Yeah. And Matt and Spiel, Frontios and the First Awakening covers are amazing. Steve Henley is also mentioning the Frontios cover. And Darren Reed, that Second Awakening cover looks like the Doctor and Tegan are photobombing the Malice. There they were. I'll show you again. Where is it? I'll get it up for you again there. It is there.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Great observation. Yeah, brilliant.
It is very difficult, though, actually, trying to illustrate the awakening, as I knew for the putting together the thumbnail for our show next week, because I came up with a similar image.
Yeah,
there's not much
you
can do. Yeah. There's not much you can do with it, unfortunately, because you've got to have the Malice there. Because that's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah. But we'll be talking about the Malice, Tegan's grandfather, and Will.
And Will.
And apologies if I missed this through being terribly late before Paul jumps in and questions my commitment.
There's time for that yet, Ian, it's fine.
I'm sure. The Dalek Supreme in Resurrection was Brian Miller, wasn't it?
Brian Miller.
I was just wondering if Sadie had come out and said that Dalek was clearly queer, because obviously, that's what she does now, isn't it? Doggy bird.
Well,
let's even talk about Dalek sexuality. I don't even go there.
Somebody was saying in the chat that Matthew Waterhouse from one of the Behind the Sofas has insisted now that Adric was queer.
Oh, for God's sake!
I must have missed that. I need to watch that again.
Yeah,
it wasn't queer. It was crap.
I think I might have to get in touch with Mr. Waterhouse and invite him on the show to discuss that.
Do you think they say it just because they want to appeal? You can't believe that, can he?
No,
he
sure.
Said that in Blue Box Boy if he really thought it, rather than saying it now to try and be topical.
It's ridiculous.
I don't remember that. I remember that when I was watching it. I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
It's just silly, isn't it? It's just.
It was queer that he was in it, but he wasn't queer.
But the thing was, when we watched it back in the day, we didn't care. We don't care now. No. We just don't care.
No, it shouldn't matter. It's not part of Doctor Who.
I don't care. It's not bothered. It's silly.
Mark A. Wright saying to us, I'll soon be embarking on my own season 21 rewatch on glorious VHS. Well, good for you. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's brilliant. Steve Braddock saying to us, I'm going to watch Warriors Special Edition straight after this before bedtime. We'll let you get there in a minute, my friend. Yeah. And Stephen O'Neill, I had all the Doctor Who stories on VHS, but sold them all to fund my DVD collection. Make sure you keep your DVD collections. Probably the last attempt you'll get at the original broadcast transmission. It's such a shame. What else? Funky is saying Ian is definitely being Colin Baker. Turns up late and makes it all about him.
Oh God, I love Funky.
Yeah, and it's because we love Colin that we can laugh at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's a running gag on the behind the sofa with Colin. Is it me yet? Is it me yet? Kind of thing. It's very good. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And Kamikaze Guy, my son has kept my VHS of Davison's Era as the 5th because it's his favorite. That's lovely to know, isn't it? It's lovely to know that the youngsters are coming across and finding Peter, all the others, and falling in love with it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a super chat here from Chorus Life I Fancy. Forgive me for changing the subject. Get in the corner. Have either of you found folks seen the Ian Levine Mythmakers? No, I haven't, but I'm actually seeing Keith in a couple of weeks' time at the Carlisle Comic Con, which is a week on Saturday. So, Keith, if you're watching, don't forget my exhibition DVDs, please.
I'm tempted to buy it. I'm quite intrigued by that one, I have to say. Yeah.
And Hartnell's Ghost saying to us here as well, hi, panel. It's really nice to have a sensible discussion with different views, respectfully put. Cheers, guys. Hartnell's Ghost, we're all of that era, though, aren't we?
Yeah,
you know, we can have a laugh about it. This is what we used to do, and that's one of the things Whose Views has been set up to do. We can have the discussions, but we all, at the end of the day, remain friends. Yeah. And that's where, on that note, I'm actually going to call it a note now and let you all go and have a look at your new special edition versions on your season 21 box set. To Paul, to Graham, to Third Doctor Ian, great show. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed tonight. Lovely to do that. Yeah, it's fun. Still lots more coming up for you. We've got tomorrow, Invasion of the Bane with the Sarah Jane Adventures review. Next week, we're going to be looking at The Awakening. And on top of that, of course, we've got our usual headlines coming up for you. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Give us a thumb up. Give us a hype. Ooh, somebody just did. It's fantastic. Keep it coming because I do love those hypes. So make sure you've got all that. We'll be
it's a hyperbolic goose. That's what it sounds like.
We will be reviewing another season at some point in the semi-regular. If you haven't seen any of the other shows, the playlist is there for you, the season overviews. From all of us, until we see you again next time here on Whose Views, thanks very much. Look after yourselves. Hopefully see you tomorrow for the Sarah Jane Adventures. Ta-ra, everyone.
Good night, bye-bye.
Bye.